I'm Doug Brown. The Arizona Cardinals cut wideout DeAndre Hopkins today. That move will save the team just over $8 million in cap space. Where will Hopkins go next? ESPN's Mike Tannenbaum.
Two jump right out to me, Kansas City and the Patriots. If you think about Kansas City, over the last few years, obviously they moved on from Tyreek Hill. McCole Hardman left in free agency. They drafted Rashid Rice, and Kadarius Toney is certainly emerging. But, wow, could you imagine Patrick Mahomes having a weapon like DeAndre Hopkins?
Hopkins had 2 years left on his Cardinals contract. He's now a free agent. The Saints installed their version of the West Coast offense this week, and they brought in John Gruden to help quarterback Derek Carr during that process. Gruden was one of Carr's head coaches in Las Vegas. Carb Day today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the final practice for Sunday's Indy 500. Two-time champ Takuma Sato put up the fastest lap of the day at almost 228 miles an hour. The pole sitter for Sunday, Alex Palou, was fourth on today's speed chart.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, two men, one journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit.
Let's go!
Tank Spencer, Jeremy Green, The Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings.
It is the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We have made it, ladies and gentlemen. It is a Friday.
One jump. Looks like we made it.
It is finally here. The Friday before a long Memorial Day weekend.
5 days.
Yes.
We hadn't had 5 days off, and I couldn't tell you how long.
It's been a while, but we're going to take we'll take a little break for the Memorial Day holiday. There's Braves baseball next Wednesday, and we're also going to take Tuesday off. Because why ruin 5 days off with 1 day in the middle? We're
Absolutely,
just not going to do that.
Absolutely, just take a few mental health days, as the kids call them now.
Right. So anyhow, we're going to kick off this Memorial Day weekend with a Power Rankings Tuesday. Since we're not going to be here on Tuesday, second hour of the program, we will begin the countdown of the best coaches in the NFL.
And for me, it was not as arduous of a process as one would think. It was actually much more simple. There's only a few that I think are even, at least for me, highly debatable.
Okay. All right. Well, we will debatable them as we get into the rest of the program here. They'll be in the 4 and the 5 o'clock hours. And but first, we got to talk some basketball because last night, the Boston Celtics.
We'll talk that in a little bit.
I'm teasing.
Look at
just
you.
let me set
Look
it up.
at you.
Let me set it up. The Boston Celtics forcing a Game 6 against the Miami Heat coming up tomorrow night. Jeremy's going to have his pick. At the end of this hour, we'll also do our little spiel on last night's Game 5 action and what the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics have to look forward to in this Game 6, possibly Game 7. Could it be history in the making?
Well, here's what I know. Neither one of you have a chance of beating my 2023 NBA champion Denver Nuggets.
Yeah. The NBA Finals, half of it is already set, but this one looks like it is, it's officially, I guess, now going to the wire because, Boston's had its back against the wall. Now I feel like Miami has its back against the wall, despite the fact that they have a lead in the series. But like you said, we'll talk more about that coming up later on in this hour. But the NFL doing what the NFL does when there's stuff to talk about in other sports. The NFL goes, middle finger to the rest of the leagues. We're going to steal the headlines. DeAndre Hopkins has been released by the Arizona Cardinals, an $8 million cap savings.
And
for
a
them.
$22 million dead cap hit.
And it's...
Do you find any of this odd?
No.
Their social media release was, we have released DeAndre Hopkins, period.
Mm-hmm.
No. We thank him for his contributions to the team.
Nope.
None of that.
Nope. And there's one major reason why. And its name is Kyler Murray.
Correct.
I can't get... But knowing what I know about Kyler Murray, obviously I don't know him as a person. I don't know him behind closed doors. But exactly, he's not really somebody who hides his feelings all that much. He's the first of the wave of scrubbing his team off the Instagram account when he's not getting his way and all of that. He has been one of the biggest divas in the NFL since Odell Beckham Jr. became irrelevant. Like, remember how he was the diva of the league, and then he kind of handed that down to Antonio Brown, and then he faded into the distance, and now I feel like Kyler Murray has taken that mantle on, and he'll fade into the distance here in a few years. But the problem is the Arizona Cardinals are completely tied to Kyler Murray because of the contract that they gave him. Nobody wants him. No, he's not going to be able to be traded. You're not getting rid of the cap hit and all that. Like, you're stuck with this guy. And when DeAndre Hopkins went on the I Am Athlete podcast and they asked him what 5 quarterbacks in the NFL you want to play for, and Kyler Murray's name wasn't in it, I guarantee you there was a text message. He was playing Fortnite or whatever, and he just got on his phone and he texted.
He has to go.
Yeah.
We can't be friends
He
anymore.
hurt my feelings.
I cried. And I want you to do
Absolutely.
something about it.
Absolutely. Kyler Murray is the exact reason why they did this. Now, DeAndre Hopkins was already 1 foot on a banana peel. And
One foot in the grave, 1 foot on the
Yeah,
banana
exactly. He was headed out the door anyway. Potentially.
But
There was
why?
a chance that you could have mended it.
I am never a fan of allowing good players to walk out the door for absolutely nothing.
I am not either.
Nothing. Now, I heard TJ Hushmanzada on with Doug Gottlieb earlier, and he basically said nobody was paying this money. I agree with you. Nobody's paying this money now, but he's going to get the money from Arizona. I still think he's a good receiver in this league. He's not DeAndre Hopkins anymore. Father Time is undefeated. We talk about this with running backs, and for some reason we don't do it with wide receivers. You hit 30, and things begin to go downhill, especially when you're a more of a physical type receiver like DeAndre Hopkins is. The thing that I would be remiss if I didn't point out, do you know how many games he missed in the, 7 years he was in Houston?
How many?
2 total. Then he goes to Arizona. He's got the PED suspension. He had the 1 injury a year.
Mm-hmm.
I still think he's a top 12 in the league receiver. Do you disagree with that?
I do not disagree.
And so now you take this guy out of Arizona. He's a free agent, and he basically told you his wish list for his next destination.
Yes.
Kevin the Elder God in our YouTube comments said, apparently 31 teams have signed DeAndre Hopkins, according to Twitter. Well, I can cull a bunch of them for you because he's already said he's done playing with rookie quarterbacks. So Indianapolis, Carolina, Houston, all that's out.
Mm-hmm.
He basically also said, I'm done playing with mediocre to bad quarterbacks. So let's cool it on the New England thing. I still can't believe I'm having to continuously say, you do realize him and Bill don't like each other, right? O'Brien, not Belichick.
Right.
So that's not where this is headed.
No.
I don't know that I've ever seen a trade in all the years that I've covered this league that was so ballyhooed on one side and then did virtually nothing.
Well, I mean, because
he had just over 200 catches. He had 17 touchdowns for Arizona in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
It's not great.
No.
I mean, this was like a steal, right? I mean, that trade was an absolute steal.
Was it?
You gave up a 2nd-round pick for a top 5 wide receiver in this league.
Was he a top 5 wide receiver for Arizona at any point?
No.
The first year, you could argue it. Other than that, no. Other than that, he wasn't. Because he did not fit in Arizona.
I'm not saying it worked out the way they wanted it to, but
Him and Kyler had issues pretty much from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to take this a step further. I think Kyler Murray will have these issues with every receiver that he has. I mean, yeah, the Rondale Moores probably won't be loud about it. Will you be shocked if 2 years from now we're doing this with Hollywood Brown?
Yes.
Or he just goes, nope, I'm done.
I think I would be shocked.
Okay, explain that.
I mean, because they have chemistry. They've been together for a while, so they know each other. I mean, they play
Doesn't
together.
mean he's not a jerk.
No, absolutely not. I mean, jerks can ruin any relationship. We all know this. You have a jerk in your life. I have a jerk in my life, and sometimes
he didn't say my name right there, and I'm I feel like that was a little Friday gift.
Well, it's because of this. Because at some point, you can no longer take it. You can no longer take it. So maybe, yes, okay, maybe it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world to think. But I don't know. It's also maybe they're so tied to each other, they're so familiar with each other that, you're kind of like relationships. Like you find that perfect relationship sometimes, and sometimes you marry it. Actually, if you find this person, you should probably marry it. Your crazy matches her crazy. Right?
Do you know?
You found that. I found it.
100%.
I mean, you find somebody who can put up with your BS. If you're going to have a lasting relationship in life, you need to find out somebody who can deal with your worst when you're at your worst. And maybe Kyler's is Marquise. Maybe.
Do you know who the pick they got for DeAndre Hopkins turned into?
Who was it?
Ross Blacklock.
Yes,
which is
even at that point,
without a doubt, that is the hardest name in the NFL to say.
Wait. You got Ross Blacklock, and I got 17 touchdowns from DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, I'm still pretty sure that was a steal of a trade.
You didn't win anything. All I'm saying is it's not the great home run that we made it out to be. And look at how divergent the paths of these two franchises have gone since the trade happened.
Mm-hmm.
So Houston gets David Johnson, who is I'm reasonably sure still in the league. I think he's somebody's fourth running back somewhere. They got the pick, and then another late round pick, and I don't know who it became, and I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
But then Houston just went into the toilet from there. Deshaun Watson signs the contract extension, but he's angry about the fact that Bill O'Brien traded DeAndre Hopkins. It bruised the instability in that relationship, and then he has the sexual assault allegations come out against him, and Houston crashes absolutely into the rocks. I don't know that I've ever seen a team fall off to that point that quickly, and you can tie it all to this trade. All I'm saying is that I think we have to stop with Bill O'Brien. Yes, this was a bad decision at the time, but what are we missing? Because now you've had Bill O'Brien, who is a Belichick disciple, not big on personalities, and then Arizona just got this guy for nothing. They've been trying to trade him for at least a solid year.
Mm-hmm.
No takers. Nobody wants to pay, and I get that. Why? A guy this good, nobody can come up with a restructured contract to give up a pick with this guy? Is that not weird? I mean, I understand he's a 30-year-old receiver, but he's still a very good, very talented player.
A little, but that is a lot of money. And this is a guy who, he's getting older, so he's not going to get, obviously he's not going to get younger. He's not going to get healthier. I mean,
but the healthy was one time. In a 9-year or 10-year career now.
I get it.
This will be his 10th year. He's had one injury. You can't really hold that against the guy.
I can, though, when it's the most recent thing I've seen. When it's you got hurt when you were older. Like a look at Joe Mixon. Remember how much fun we used to make of Joe Mixon? That, he's made of popsicle sticks and blah, he can't stay healthy, blah, 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 blah. Well, that was 3 years into his career. He had played a handful of, or he had missed more than a handful of games. He had that one devastating injury, and then ever since then, he's missed like 2 games.
Well, I mean, and I guess I would say the same thing about DeAndre. He missed like 2 games because of injury last year. The rest of it was because of PED suspension. Yeah, you forgot that was a thing, didn't you? Because at least I'll tell you definitively, I did.
Oh, I didn't forget.
I did. So, I mean, it's not an injury thing, but I'm starting to wonder if there's
What were the PEDs he was taking? Was that was that in it? See, that's where my brain goes. Is he wasn't trying to get bigger, faster, stronger. He was using it like many of the baseball players used it when they got popped, to get better from injuries. So if your body's older and it's broken down and you're having to take PEDs and skirt the rules a little bit to try to make yourself better, that's not something I'm paying top dollar for. So every other team looked at this and went, we're just going to sit back and wait. And we'll see what this dumpster fire of a franchise does. And lo and behold, here you go. Now you don't have to sign him for whatever. Now you can get your own deal. You don't have to take on the contract.
Well, and I think Andreas Pinckney had a really good point in the YouTube comments. He said receivers are easier to get now. 100%. I don't have to do any of this.
100%. How hard is it to, and we're going to do this, we're going to do the top 40 wide receiver, top 50 wide receiver. Hell, we could do the top 60 wide receiver list in a Power Rankings Tuesday.
Josh Palmer at 12. No big deal.
Stop that. At some point in the future, we'll do it. And when we do it, I have a feeling that we're going to get to a point where we go, oh my God, we've got 20 guys that could fluctuate between, the top 20 and the top 40 could just be a smidge of a difference between those guys. The guy at 20 and the guy at 40, they could be relatively the same guy.
And yet this is the bird in the hand. I know what DeAndre Hopkins is if he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about this after the break, is why there are only a handful of destinations that even make the vaguest amount of sense. And DeAndre Hopkins, basically, he already told you who they are.
Yep.
And I'm not sure that he didn't say it in the order that they will come about.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
Did you know Ingalls only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people.
I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zack with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina.
Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with little tips for a healthier planet. October is Energy Awareness Month and a good time to assess your home to make sure you're ready for the season's cooler temperatures. Keep your window shades open on sun-facing windows during the day to get free solar heat, and close them after dark to add a little extra insulation. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/earth.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Ricardo, quote, "This is one of the greatest inventions ever. I know this may sound like I'm exaggerating, but this sucker is amazing. The first time I did it, I couldn't believe what came out of my sinuses. I could breathe with ease. My wife just bought one too. Thank you for this product," unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres? In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. And now try Babbel for free by texting radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumber than a bag of hammers.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, live in the Ingles studio. DeAndre Hopkins has been released by the Arizona Cardinals. Not really. I'm a bit surprised. I will say I'm a bit surprised. I figured that the path here was they were going to find a trade partner, that they would get something.
I feel like a lot more people are more surprised than I am.
Can I not get a 5th rounder for him? I mean, just something.
Well, the report started leaking out that he's not playing another down for Arizona no matter what. I mean, we've done this all offseason long.
Right. This has been going on for a while. I want to say it was right at the end of the season. I want to say it was like Super Bowl week. He went on some podcast or YouTube show or something where he started talking about teams that he'd like to play for. And would you like to guess what the top 3 teams he said at the time were? The Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, all right.
And
so that's one clue.
That's 3 of your 4 potential landing spots.
So that's one clue. Then he goes on the I Am Athlete podcast with Brandon Marshall and his part. I don't know who was on the show with him. I just recognized Brandon Marshall from the clip. He goes on there and they ask him top 5 quarterbacks that you would like to play for. Immediately, he came out with the top 4. Josh Allen was the first word out of his mouth. Because he's been talking about it, he's been dreaming about it, he's been thinking about it all offseason long. What this would look like if he could go to Buffalo and play with that strong-armed quarterback up in Buffalo with Stephon Diggs on the other side of him, and how great that would be. Then he said Jalen Hurts, which I haven't heard much about him being tied to Philadelphia.
He must physically cannot see a way that would happen.
He must just be a giant Jalen Hurts fan,
which is understandable.
And I get it. Then it was Patrick Mahomes, because who wouldn't want to go win a title with Patrick Mahomes? It's almost guaranteed at that point. I mean, we have said in our run-up to this season of they have nobody who scares us. You add him, now you got somebody who scares me, and the rest of the roster fills in the holes. Then he whipped out Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens. So he's already been thinking about playing for 3 of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
And then he paused. And when he got to 4, after he got to 4, he went, 5, that's tough. And Brandon Marshall says, ooh, how about Dak Prescott? And DeAndre Hopkins clammed up. And he just leaned back in his chair, pursed his lips, and just shook his head and said, He made no sounds, but the visual of it was, you jumped way off the page on that one. And I thought it was hilarious. Like, he even sucked his lips in, like, you better move on or I'm going to say something that I shouldn't about Dak Prescott. And then he finally got to Justin Herbert.
Well, there's no shot he goes to the Chargers.
No.
There's no shot there. I don't think there's any shot he goes to the Eagles.
No. This is a 3-team race.
I think it's 4.
Really?
I do. I think there's a 4th. I would say in order, I think Kansas City would be the favorite.
Okay.
Slightly over Buffalo.
Okay.
Buffalo still has Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, and they're planning on using Dalton Kincaid in the slot from everything I've been told.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that I don't think Buffalo would love to have him. I don't know that they're going to make him the priority that he wants to be made. I know Kansas City is. So that's, for me, it's 1, 2, and then 2 dark horses.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore's the first one, and you're going to laugh when I say this. Second one's the New York Jets. They were one of the only teams that called to try to facilitate a trade.
Okay.
They didn't want to give up much, and they didn't want to pay him. I would say the Jets are a distant 4 because the money has been a problem, and they do already have a lot of receivers. And from what I know, it appears that Corey Davis is going to be on this roster. Unless it's DeAndre Hopkins.
I was going to say, if you can save $11 million or what. I don't
Well, there's
remember.
no guaranteed money on Corey Davis, so they can outright cut him for no penalty.
Right.
If they could get Hopkins at that number, I wouldn't be shocked if they made a very aggressive run at it.
And
I don't know what the money's going to look like.
And that's like $11 or $12 million, something like that, isn't it?
I believe it's 12, if I remember correctly.
I knew it was somewhere in that ballpark. So, I mean, that would make sense. But as long as the latest news is correct, Corey Davis is supposed to be a member of this team. Everybody has been
the way it looks right now,
paving that over in the last couple of weeks. But maybe they didn't expect DeAndre Hopkins would get released. They thought they had to get him in a trade and that Arizona would just patch things up and they would all move on. Well, now he's been released and he's back on the market, and that changes things. So New York Jets, okay, I will accept that. If they were one of the only teams to call about a trade, then it would make sense that they're in the market.
Well, the thing that you're going to have to make me understand, I understand that the salary cap is made up, the numbers are fictitious, and none of it matters. The two teams with the least cap space in the league are Buffalo and Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be shocked if one of those other two swoop through and go, hey, we're here too. We're all in.
Mm-hmm.
New York's all in. And I won't be shocked at any of those 4 teams. I will be stunned at anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you?
I think it's Buffalo and Buffalo. Honestly,
So you
I
think
feel
Kansas City, in spite of the fact he said Pat Mahomes first, and has every time we've talked about this.
He didn't on the podcast. Josh Allen was the first word out of his mouth.
The transcript I saw, Pat Mahomes was first.
No.
I did not listen to it, but I did read it.
I watched the clip, and the first word out of his mouth was, this is no-brainer, Josh Allen. I feel like his heart wants Josh Allen. Because like I said in the Super Bowl week interview that I saw, Buffalo was the first thing that he mentioned. I think that's his...
Oh, he said that on Instagram.
I think that's his destination. I think that's where, in his heart of hearts, that's where he would want to go. Why that over Kansas City? The only thing that I can think of, and I don't think DeAndre is the type of guy to shy away from a challenge or anything like that, but if I go to Kansas City, it's going to be guaranteed. Like, I have to be the guy.
You have to be the one.
He has to be the one. He has to be the guy, and there's not as much. How about that? There's not as much to take attention away from him in Kansas City.
Well, there's a lot, but none of them are legit, too.
But that's what I'm saying. If he's in Buffalo, he can be the 1B. Stephon Diggs is the 1A, and it relieves some of the pressure. And I feel like there's the storyline that comes with it. If you finally get over the hump, then you were the guy to save Buffalo football and all of that and finally knock out the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not saying if Kansas City called with a decent offer, he wouldn't jump at the chance, because who wouldn't jump at the chance to play for Andy Reid?
No doubt.
With Patrick Mahomes.
And I want to touch on something. Common Sense Ain't Common, which, again, greatest YouTube name of all time. He's going to the Chiefs with the Bills. Nothing else is even worth talking about. I'd put my house on Kansas City, which was immediately followed by Kansas City Chief fan Mike Baker saying the Chiefs won't guarantee anything to D-Hop. That's why the rest of this is worth talking about. Because there is a possibility that those two teams that he really wants would like him, but they're not going to hemorrhage the cap space to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because where I think this has gone kind of off the tracks is that the way DeAndre Hopkins is viewed around the league and the way he is viewed in between his own ears is different. And so if you told me one of those other two teams came along, and I'm just these are not numbers that I've heard from anybody else, it's just I'm reading tea leaves. Buffalo, Kansas City both come in with 1-year deals, $5 million, $5 million in not likely to be reached incentives. Baltimore, the Jets come through with $8 million and $5 million in not likely to be reached incentives. Which one are you taking?
Mm-hmm.
I still get an elite quarterback with all four. That's why I think there are other teams that are worth talking about. I just can't see how it's anybody but those four. He's making it well known. I'm not doing this anymore. I know how easy it was with Deshaun Watson. The best years of my career were there. Then I go to Arizona, and I've got to deal with Kyler and the malcontent attitude, and he doesn't love football, because that was something else that he said that I haven't heard you say yet. In that interview with I Am Athlete, he said, I want a quarterback that really loves football.
Yep.
That's basically hey, Kyler doesn't, and I'm super tired of it.
Kyler's worried about other things. Kyler's worried about his social status. He's worried about his video games. He's worried, all of the
He's starting
drama.
an esports team.
Right. And I fully understand that. DeAndre Hopkins is at a point in his career where he can be the guy to say, he's doing the thing that Larry Fitzgerald should have done. I am done with this. Whatever this is. It was fun that y'all got me to a Super Bowl. How long's that been? 15 years ago? That was
Fitz
awesome.
was super loyal.
And I get it. But what I'm saying is, how many of us would have loved to have been able to see Larry Fitzgerald win a Super Bowl? And would you have slighted him for a second if he'd have finally said, I'm done with the clown show, send me somewhere?
Let me ask you a question. And Bill Belichick said this in our YouTube comments in a different way. Do you think DeAndre Hopkins is the missing piece for any of these 4 teams?
I think he can be for Buffalo.
I don't think he is for any of them. I think he's the second motorcycle. He's a yacht. If you can make it work and you've got the means, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your daily driver. That's not what's getting you to and from work. It's a toy. It's a toy that can make your life more fun. I don't think at this point he is. I think he still thinks he's a top 12 in the NFL wide receiver.
Okay.
And I think he can have games like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how precipitously the decline happened with Julio Jones? Do you remember what age he was at when that happened? Right where DeAndre Hopkins is now. So there might be something to what you said about Buffalo. I don't have to be the guy.
Right.
Maybe that's what he's after. It's not the only place that works. So it'll be an interesting thing to watch. And hopefully he doesn't sign in one of the days we're off. Because, this is that fun time where we got to talk about basketball and the Boston Celtics and Game 5.
Yeah. Bill Belichick, I get the concerns. Is he the missing piece? I think he makes the most difference for Buffalo.
And see, I think he makes the most difference for Kansas City, but I'm not sure either one of them are going to pony up.
See, I feel like Kansas City's a winner anyway.
I think they're both winners anyway. Both these teams are going to win 10 games regardless. Fact or fiction?
Fact. But when it comes to winning a Super Bowl, Kansas City can win one without him. Can Buffalo win one without him?
Kansas City can win one with him or without him. I don't think Buffalo can win one with him or without him.
Oh, okay. All right, so it changes nothing. Awesome.
For me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It does change a little for me. But you're clearly behind. You're still behind Kansas City if he joins you in Buffalo. If you just feel like your chances to win it and go to the Super Bowl are better. This is the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Watching low pressure spin up in the Atlantic and headed for the Carolina forecast for the weekend, making for a soggy Memorial Day weekend for us. Breezy weather also. 48 degrees our low tonight. Increasing clouds. Rain chances kicking in for Saturday coming up from the southeast. High 60 degrees, over an inch of rain tomorrow. Half-inch rains on Sunday. High 63. And then showers Monday. High 71. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Come shop Memorial Day deals now at Lowe's. Save on appliances with up to an additional $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 5/31. Savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See store Lowe's.com for details.
Life is short, and if we spend our time suffering with pain and it takes away our joy, that's not a very good way to live.
He's right. It's hard to be happy when you're in constant pain. QC Kinetics patient Chad admits the chronic pain in his knee really robbed his quality of life.
When I was going to the traditional doctor and getting the pain pills, my smile wasn't as big as it usually is. Going to my high school reunion on crutches, it was awful.
But then Chad visited QC Kinetics. He experienced the real power behind natural regenerative treatments. Using healing properties from his own body, QC Kinetics was able to restore and repair damaged tissue, finally giving Chad lasting relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime.
And I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
Learn how advanced regenerative medicine can help your body heal itself at QC Kinetics. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
O'Reilly. Get your vehicle ready for spring during Clean Car Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Pro X1 exterior cleaning and detailing products provide professional results and show quality shine for your vehicle. Right now, pick up Pro X1 Snow Foam Car Wash 2 for just $15. See store for details. Pro X1 exclusively at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
For more information about contests on the station, log on to ESPNAVL.com.
At Ingles Weather, we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people.
I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zack with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina.
I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sports Awkward.
Just outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. Karl Malone, the mailman, is getting quite the check in his mail as he just sold his 1992 Dream Team memorabilia collection for $5 million. So apparently Karl has, or I guess had in this scenario, one of the greatest collections of memorabilia from the Dream Team. Obviously, he was a member of the Dream Team with Michael and just the bevy of legends that was on that team.
From what I've heard, he ran the merch swap. So he was the one that would throw things on a table and go, hey, everybody sign this. And they would give it away to corporate sponsors, things like that. Well, he wound up with a bunch of them.
He did. In fact, the number one selling item in the auction was Michael Jordan's number 9 white jersey that he wore in the Lithuania game in the semifinals. If you don't remember the score of that game, it was 127-76. It was signed by Michael, and it sold in this auction for $3 million, just a hair over $3 million. In fact, it was $3,003,000, a record for any game-used Olympics Jordan item. He also sold the sneakers that Michael was wearing in the Tournament of the Americas leading up to the Olympics. Those went for over $400,000. He had a Larry Bird jersey that was also worn in the Lithuania game that went for over $300,000. There was a Magic jersey and a Barkley jersey and a David Robinson and a Clyde Drexler. The entire thing had been on display at his car lot. So he has a car lot, I guess, in Utah.
Karl Malone has a car lot?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Karl Malone
he's got a dealership, and it was all on display in this dealership. And now he just decided to part with it after he was on the Netflix show King of Collectibles, The Golden Touch. I've seen the ads or the previews for this, and I want to watch it. I love those auction shows and all of that. That's why I do so many of these stories, because I just think it's amazing the money that people have to spend. Yeah,
I'm not a collectibles guy.
I can drop $3 million on a Michael Jordan jersey, no problem.
I'm not a collectibles guy. I'm not.
I've always dug the collectibles. Says the guy with all the jerseys in the cases.
But for me, that's not. They're mine. I'm not trying to upsell them. I think they're cool.
Right.
The Lawrence Taylor jersey behind your head. It's mine, and I like it. There's no amount. I mean, there's always an amount.
I was gonna say everybody's got a number.
Somebody shows up with $5,000. There you go. That looks. You were the new proud owner of some cool stuff. But I want it. This is how my offices have always been. They're adorned with things like that. But it's not like I'm collecting them. I see them. Hey, I like that.
But you'll never sell them.
No.
So you're collecting them. I mean, collecting doesn't mean you're going to end up selling them. I mean, I collected baseball cards when I was a kid, and guess what? Aside from the really crappy ones that were like, all of the Steve Sachs cards that I had, and those went in the trash. But all the good ones I kept.
I guess it's the selling of them that I don't really understand. Like I'm trying to, I got all this. I'm also not an autograph guy.
But what are you going to do with them? Like in Carl's case, what are you going to do with them?
Exactly what I do. Put them up there around your office and go, hey, it's mine.
Yeah, but if I can make $5 million,
I'm also not the autograph guy. I think that might be one of the dumbest things we do as a society.
Asking other people for their autograph.
I ran into this other guy, and I got him to sign this thing that I had in my hand, and now I own that. Isn't that cool?
Well, it's proof. I mean, it's proof that you were in the same room with greatness.
Who cares? I've been in the room with a lot of greatness. One of them was Topanga from Boy Meets World. My story comes from the NFL, and it's about the New Orleans Saints. They have a new quarterback, and apparently they have a new offense. And they brought in a familiar face to that quarterback to help them install that offense. John Gruden. I don't know. I don't really know what to do with this story. A lot's being made of this.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not do that? I mean, I understand what he did and all the things that got him fired in Las Vegas. If there's anybody that knows this offense, it would be John Gruden. I don't think Sean Payton's coming to help you install it with him out in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of unemployed people. Most of them went to Denver with Sean Payton. So you get old Gruden to this Spider 2Y banana, man. Great play. Nothing better. Works every time, man.
All controversies blow over at some point. And some take longer than others. I mean, I'm thinking, most vilified athletes in history. I mean, eventually we got over Bill Buckner as Red Sox fans, right? I mean, once you had to win a World Series to get it done, but eventually he was embraced back into the fold. Those... I mean, and John Gruden, I feel like, is one of those. Like, we'll eventually get over this. I mean, whose grandpa hasn't sent an email that he probably shouldn't, and you went, you know what, you shouldn't have done that, but I still love you. And it might take a while for you to get over it, but eventually you'll get your shot.
I don't have a button for this. I think you have to hit your here comes the money button.
Here comes the money.
Yeah.
Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
We got a big old biggin from Jonathan Welch. Our last show, while you can still get in the early bird special for our Ultimate Fantasy Football Draft Weekend contest. After we come back, we will have a lot more details of this. And one of the reasons we've been so coy is because we want whoever wins it to give their input. It's going to be a 3-day experience. You get in it on Friday. We'll have some festivities over Friday, Saturday, and then we're going to have your ultimate fantasy draft here in Beer City. Red carpet experience hosted by us, live streamed on YouTube. But to get in, you got to get in. And Jonathan Welch just did with a gigantic contribution to the cause, and all the proceeds of this benefit the Evelyn Charities St. Nicholas Project and Tools for Schools. When we come back, there will be a lot more info of how this contest has changed. Tank told me at one point, if it takes you more than 2 sentences to explain it, it's too complicated.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to, bring some things back from last year because it got a little confusing. this year it's going to be. This contest is going to be huge. We're going to have people. We've already got people in it from 7 states. That's just in the in the Ultimate Fantasy Draft contest. Battle for the Belt's going to be gigantic. And so now Welch he's in for everything. All of it.
And it's that easy, ladies and gentlemen.
It is that easy.
That's how you get in. We got the QR codes that'll pop up on the screen from time to time during the program. I don't have that button, so Jeremy, if you could pop that up on the screen right there, that'd be great. You got the QR codes on the screen that you can follow. The links are in the description of the show here, and it's also posted on our social media. So you need to get in now because double tickets until next Wednesday.
And there are multiple winners to this contest. The contest itself will end July 15th. That's when we will have our winner. So we will have one of you that gets your entire fantasy football league with the red carpet experience. We will have 10 more winners that get into the show league here, and that draft will also be the same day. So you're a winner too. You get to experience all the things. It's going to be a long day.
It is.
That's 2 fantasy drafts. Going to be a long day. Good thing is I live about 4 minutes from where we're doing this, man. I can drink all the domestic lights I want to.
All right, let's talk some basketball here.
I don't get to bring out the John Gruden anymore because he's a jerk.
Jeremy's pick on tomorrow night's game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat in Miami. Tomorrow night, his pick's coming up after the next break. But as we go into it, what to expect from Game 6? What did you think of the performances in Game 5?
Game 5 was exactly what I thought it would be. Miami just didn't quite keep it as close as I thought they would because Hemi Butler reformed into James Butler III.
Well, I mean, I don't think you can be too shocked that the offense wasn't clicking on all cylinders without Gabe Vincent on the floor.
There's a phrase I never thought I would ever hear in my entire life.
Well, when you have
without Gabe Vincent, the Miami offense was just what?
Well, I mean, you could probably have made up the difference if your team wasn't already hurt. I mean, if you're already not playing without Tyler Hero, I mean, I feel like that's one more role player that would need to step up, and you just didn't get it done.
Tyler Hero is just Duncan Robinson with a goofier hat.
And they're pretty good players, right?
If you'd have told me going into last night the leading scorer for the Miami Heat will be Duncan Robinson, Celtics over.
Yes.
Celtic, whatever the number is. I don't care. If Duncan Robinson leads the Miami Heat, you are going to get scattered, smothered, covered, diced, and chunked.
I felt like the Miami Heat, when they heard that, when they found out that Gabe Vincent wasn't going to play last night, they went, okay, so maybe we can't win them all, right? Guys, we'll be back in Miami on Saturday. Let's go out there. Let's try to win, of course. I mean, you play every game to try to win, but if this isn't in our reach, I mean, let's save some gas in the tank here because now we're going home for Game 6.
Leading the leading minute producer in Game 5 for the Miami Heat was who?
Bam.
No, sir. He was at 32.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler was at 34. Caleb Martin at 32. And Haywood Highsmith with 36.
That guy.
That really should tell you everything you need to know about how Miami went into Game 5.
Absolutely.
Hey, this guy that's played like 9 seconds in his NBA career, he's about to run 36 minutes for us.
We have no pressure to win this game.
No.
But now you have all the pressure to win Game 6.
And I think they're going to.
And they very well could. But I don't know. Is Gabe going to be ready to go? They say he will be.
That is the current reporting.
Right. So if Gabe's ready to go, then maybe they can just pick back up where they left off. But I do feel like Boston comes in with some momentum here. And I would like to remind everybody that Jason Tatum is a beast. And we all know this.
Oh,
you
get to Game 7, Jason Tatum, and he becomes a whole new level of dog.
Exactly. We talk about players all the time who can't step up in the big moment. The guys who get to the big stage and just poo in their pants.
Never poo your pants.
Chris Paul comes to mind. Paul George. We hang so many guys with this. And sometimes I feel like we forget the guys who step up in big moments. Now, obviously, we've been talking about Hemi Butler this whole playoff series because, playoff Hemi has shown up. And that's all well and good.
Playoff Hemi was not on display last night.
He was not, and you can't be all of the time. I get it. But Jason Tatum is that dude. And when it comes time for Game 6, Game 7 in his career, he's never had a real bad game.
I am still going to say the same thing that I said going into this series and that I said after the first 3 games. The level of disrespect that we put on the Miami Heat is absolutely confounding to me. And the longer this series goes, the more it benefits Miami. I know that sounds weird to say for a team that was up 3-0. How many players do the Heat have that could play legitimate minutes if asked?
10.
It's about 10. How many does Boston have?
7.
It's 7. And there's an 8th, but none of them have been particularly good.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm not putting too much into this. I know everybody's freaking out going, oh, Boston's coming back. Jaylen Brown said, don't let us get one. What else was he going to say? Yeah, we're going to roll over and die like a old dog next to the radiator.
No, and nobody expected that. It is a more competitive series than it was. And it's exactly as you said leading into Game 5. You said Boston's going to get Game 5, and then you go to Game 6. But now the momentum has shifted a bit. Miami's still at home, so they're going to be on that high. I see nothing in these guys that's panic mode. If you heard them after the game, they were all just like, yeah, this happens. Sometimes we don't play our best game. And Jimmy said it, this is not who we are. And we all know that.
Haynes and I watched every second of this game last night. He lost multiple adult beverages to me because I figured out in the second quarter, they're not even trying to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are they putting guys on the floor? Yes. If they can get close, will you see a different level of effort? Yes. But it was Boston had them at arms. They were down 15 in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
They had them at arm's length the entire game, and I don't think it ever got smaller than 8 or 9 that I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those. Nobody will come out and say this because you try to win every game. Miami was not trying to win last night. If they could have kept it close, hey, house money. They knew the same thing I knew and the same thing Charles Barkley knew. Last night was the easiest money ever by picking Boston to win. I just thought Miami would keep it a little closer.
Yep.
But I still think they knock it out in 6.
Now Boston goes to Game 6 in Miami. Jeremy's pick of the night coming up next.
At Ingles Weather, we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking, you get all the essential checking services for free, including 100% online access and a free Visa debit card. It's everything you need from a checking account, but no hoops, no surprises, no monthly fees. Stop by today or call 800-627-1632. Simple Checking at Home Trust. Ready for what's next. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at RogueCombatClub.com.
Spring in the South means the return of Atlanta Braves baseball.
There's a liner out towards center field. It will lay down. Here comes Ronald. Braves win it.
The 2023 Braves load up for another huge season.
The Braves play here on ESPN Asheville.
Quote based on healthy, non-smoking 30-year-old female with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary. Eligible policies and estate planning tools can vary by state.
It's a busy life. You have enough to worry about. So here's a great way to check life insurance off your list. It's called Ethos. With the thought of medical exams, forms to fill out, and the cost, it's easy to see why life insurance can fall to the bottom of your to-do list. But at Ethos Life, we've got your back. For about $1 a day, you could get $250,000 in term life insurance without a medical exam. Just go online, answer a few health questions, and snap! Family protected. You could get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and be covered in hours. No medical exams, no blood tests, no hassle. Right now, with your purchase of an eligible policy from Ethos, you'll get something else important to your family. Tools to create a legal will. A $449 value, yours free. Ethos, the 100% online, hassle-free way to get affordable life insurance. Get your free online quote now at ethoslife.com. That's ETHOS life.com.
The Dell Technologies Summer Sale event starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs with Windows 11 Pro. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on essential accessories, plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. Offered to business customers by WebBank, who determines qualifications for and terms of credit.
iHeart gives you access to the hottest music, events, and deals. But on June 1st, we're giving you access like never before. It's iHeartRadio Access Day, our 24-hour way of saying thank you for listening. Go to iHeartRadioAccessDay.com today.
You could be spending Meet Friday with me, Dan Patrick, and the Danettes for a VIP experience in the Man Cave, all part of iHeartRadio Access Day.
Head to iHeartRadioAccessDay.com to register to receive reminders for when experiences like this and more go live this Thursday.
Coffee store closes on. Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power. That watch costs more than your car. Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
Well. After we thought this series was over, we're heading into a Game 6. And I cannot put this emphatically enough. Miami, if you're going to make a winner out of me, we really need to do it Saturday night. This is Green on Green, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. In the words of Charles Barkley, Game 5 might have been the easiest wager I've ever had that Boston was going to win. Where I boo-boo kidded is that I thought Miami would show a little fight without Gabe Vincent. They lost by 13, and you could have convinced me that was a 33-point game, and I watched every second of it. Now, going into Game 6, Boston 2.5-point favorite, over-under 210.5. I've learned my lesson. I'm going to start with the over-under. I'm going under because any of these games that have been competitive have not blown out over the number. So for me, it's easy to lay under 210.5. Now, for who wins, we seem to be forgetting that no team in NBA history has ever come back from 3-0 down. I wouldn't be shocked if Boston won this. And when I say shocked, I mean shocked. But I don't think they're going to. Miami has been the better team in this series, the last two games notwithstanding, and I have a funny feeling that Hemi Butler is going to make a reappearance here in Game 6. So I'm taking the Heat plus the 2.5. They went outright, and they booked themselves a date with my 2023 NBA champion Denver Nuggets. You have no shot in this series, and I don't care who wins. For more, find us on all the social medias at The Sportsocracy. And as always, love the savings with Ingles, love the winnings with me. Mow it out.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Watching low pressure spin up in the Atlantic and headed for the Carolina forecast for the weekend, making for a soggy Memorial Day weekend for us. Breezy weather also. 48 degrees our low tonight, increasing clouds. Rain chances kicking in for Saturday coming up from the southeast. High 60 degrees, over an inch of rain tomorrow, half-inch rains on Sunday, high 63, and then showers Monday, high 71. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Verizon. Ready to take control of your phone plan? Well, then you better take that next turn to a Verizon store, because my plan from Verizon is the kind of control we all deserve. Get exactly what you want. Only pay for what you need. Get my plan at your Verizon store today.
Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, N.A. Copyright 2023.
Only iHeartRadio gives you access to all of your favorite radio stations.
Rover's Morning Glory.
It's the Woody Show.
It's Elliot in the morning.
All of the once-in-a-lifetime events.
iHeartRadio Music Festival.
All of the best free curated playlists.
It's everything that rocks.
All of the great podcasts for every interest.
This is Freddie Prinze Jr. from the Wrestling with Freddie podcast.
All of the mind-blowing contests.
$20,000.
Awesome.
All of your favorite superstars.
This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
Best of all, it doesn't cost a thing. Download the absolutely free iHeartRadio app now. Calling all true crime podcast fans. Tune in to Freeway Phantom and join a new investigation into the 50-year-old unsolved murders of 6 young black girls in Washington, D.C. Explore startling new evidence that could crack these cold cases wide open and bring as many questions as they do answers.
We still care, and it still hurts. We just want to know what happened.
Listen to Freeway Phantom on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Sportsocracy.
One thing that you're going to have to remember, one most important factor, is to protect your quarterback, me.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
Sports Center.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate.
I'm Doug Brown. There's a new
cheaper
free
than
agent
oxygen.
wide receiver on the market. The Cardinals today cut 30-year-old DeAndre Hopkins, which gives them more than $8 million in cap space. Hopkins led the Cardinals in receiving yards last season, even with a 6-game suspension for PEDs. The Miami Heat averaged 121 points a game in the first 3 games of the Eastern Finals against the Celtics, but only 98 points in the last 2 games. ESPN's Brian Windhorst.
The Heat were moving with ease and everything. The difference in these last 2 games, the level of effort defensively from Boston, and they have really focused on Bam Adebayo. He has averaged only 13 points over the last 3 games. That's where the Heat are going to have to make an adjustment.
Brian Windhorst, the Heat still lead the series 3-2. Game 6 tomorrow night in Miami. Our coverage at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio. The LSU women's and UConn men's basketball teams celebrating their national titles at the White House today. LSU freshman Samaya Smith fainted and was helped off the stage during the ceremony. She was okay after being checked out.
It's Wrangler season out there. Open roads, endless horizons. Shop Wrangler.com for new denim styles, made for your next adventure. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen. But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Green, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingalls Supermarkets.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville, and we are, as always, live in the Ingalls studio. ESPN Asheville on 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400, and of course heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. You can also get in touch with the program, get in the comment section on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link to get into the chat. You have to subscribe to the channel. It helps us boost our numbers, and we love being engaged with our fan base here.
We're an hour into the last 3-hour go-home show before the 5-day Memorial Weekend for us, and we've already got a heavy hitter into the Ultimate Fantasy Football Draft Weekend contest, Jonathan Welch. That is now our 8th state that has entrance in this contest, and we're only, a week and a half in?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be gigantic. And you want to get into, because our early bird special ends on Wednesday, and we will not have a show between then and now. So we feel the urge to tell you, and what you do with that information is up to you, okay? But don't, like, on Thursday, but I want more, because you can't. There's nothing I can do about that.
Right. You gotta hit the deadlines. That's one thing they teach you when you get into this business. You got to hit the deadlines.
Correct.
So the deadline to get the double tickets in the Ultimate Fantasy Draft Weekend contest is on Wednesday of next week.
Now, you'll still have a month and a half to sign up, but you won't get the double, so you won't get as many entries. You won't have as many shots to win one of our lovely prizes to do fantasy football things with us.
Better to make the investment now than to wait. Now, because we won't be here until next Thursday, we're going to miss one important day of the week that we love so much, and that is
Power Rankings Tuesday.
That's right. So the Power Rankings Tuesday will be moved to here, and that kind of makes this a Power Rankings Tuesday and a
Football Friday.
There we go. Just hitting on all cylinders. Power rankings of the best coaches in the NFL and the worst. Of course, we're going to do all 32 of the head coaches power ranked thusly. You got to start at the bottom, as we always do.
Like Drake said, started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Yep. And this is where you have to put in, every year we do this, just to be fair, you have to put in the first-time head coaches.
Well, you got to put, to me, they've got to be almost in the not applicable tier. So for this, they're at 30, 31, 32. But we ranked them in order of how we feel about them going into this.
Yes. So at number 32, I guess if you wanted to put it in the negative way, the first-time head coach that we believe the least in,
Jonathan Gannon.
And
this has
the Arizona Cardinals.
For me, this almost has more to do with where he is than who he is.
Mm-hmm.
I like the other two a lot. I don't love the situation of one of them, but I feel like that's going to be rectified within about one calendar year. And he's got a lot of play with that organization because he played for them.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Gannon walks into a situation in Arizona where, I mean, if I was going to equate this to something, this is the dilapidated double wide of the NFL.
Okay.
And I actually think Monty Austin, the first-time GM, hit home runs at the draft. I love what you did there. But you got a lot to unwind. I mean, you basically, I can't remember now who said it, but somebody said you gave up DeAndre Hopkins for what equates to a bag of air because you got nothing for him. And so now you look around and just go, this is not an NFL team. Every year we have one or two of these where you look at rosters and go, what have you been doing for the last 5 years? So I think Arizona is kind of a no-win situation. I like Gannon. I think over the course of time he will get the jump on that defense to where it's going to improve and they will look more like what you saw in Philadelphia. But it's not going to happen anytime soon. I mean, this is a 2-year rebuild at minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps that you're going to have the first and second pick in the draft next year. I'm going to say that about 400 times. And then somehow it's going to end up being 1 and 3. I don't know who could possibly interject in that, but I have a feeling their coach is going to be coming up reasonably quickly.
Yep, in just about 4 spots. Number 31.
Shane Steichen. I felt like I couldn't differentiate the Philadelphia Eagle guys. I like Steichen slightly better because of the situation and because he's an offensive guy.
Yes.
You know I'm not a huge fan of having defensive coaches where we're at in the NFL now. But it's going to take a year. Even if Anthony Richardson's a hit, you're going to need another offseason to build around him.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have money next year. I have a feeling Shane Steichen will rise quite a bit next year, but he's only the second best first-time head coach.
Agreed. The first best first-time head coach is DeMeco Ryans of the Houston Texans. We have been looking forward to, and I say we as in I believe the collective of the football freaks that are out there. We've all wanted to see what it's going to look like when DeMeco Ryans finally gets a shot as a head coach in the league. Now, he goes to Houston, and he doesn't have a great situation, but he obviously has a great connection with the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
We believe in the defensive system that he wants to run.
He may have the longest leash of any first-time head coach we've ever seen.
Possibly.
There's no way you got him to take this job without that.
Because
he was the most sought guy outside of Sean Payton in this hiring cycle, and you got him to take the worst job. You got a 6-year deal when they signed him. I'll be honest with you, he'd go 1-16 this year. It changes his job security absolutely zero.
No, until the new GM comes in, and if the new GM doesn't like him, and then he could find himself in a precarious situation.
Don't
But
agree with
probably
you.
not.
I think they're going to hire a GM based on.
And
don't be shocked if the next GM comes out of San Francisco.
And they should. I'll just be honest with you. They should. It's weird that you would go, hire your head coach and then fire your GM. You would think that would all kind of come at one time, but here we are. Anyway, DeMeco Ryans, there was no chance that he was not the best of the hires.
And he's just the one I feel the best about. So you get there, there's your 3 first-time head coaches. We'll see what that provides.
I think Shane Steichen, there's no doubt he's going to be more successful in year 1. But this is more of a long-term look of how we feel about these guys. At number 29, the first not first-year head coach.
The first coach that we know what he is. Dennis Allen of the New Orleans Football Saints.
Okay. All right. I don't necessarily disagree with you that this is where Dennis Allen should fall.
Well, you want to put in another guy that coaches.
One that's worse.
He's not, though. He's not. Dennis Allen historically has been a horrendous head coach.
As has the other guy.
Best record that Dennis Allen's ever had in his 4 years as a head coach is 7-10. 4-12, 4-12, 0-4, 7-10. How are you still employed? I don't think anything has made me madder in the offseason than New Orleans didn't look at Dennis Allen and go, oh, you got to go. I feel bad. We had a bunch of Saints fans that watch this show. I feel bad for y'all because this team is the most talented team in your division. But I trust your coach as much as I trust knowing things about the Clintons. I trust gas station sushi. And I'm not talking like pre-made cream cheese salmon roll. I'm talking gas station sashimi.
And you never go sashimi.
No. Great sashimi incident of 2022.
Jeremy learned that when what was it, 3 days you missed because of that? It was a while.
I'm not going to lie to you. By the end of that, I swear to God, I'll never eat another sushi roll the rest of my life, and I love sushi. If you let me get through this, I'll
be good, I promise.
I'll be good, and I have been good. I have been very delicate about my sushi choices since then. Only comes from one restaurant that's very close to my house, and I know that their sanitation standards are very high.
Dennis Allen at number 29, making him the worst established coach in the NFL. At number 28.
This is where you get your guy.
Yeah.
The old stoic face himself. Todd Bowles.
He's terrible.
He is brutally
He
bad.
is terrible, and I've known he's terrible. And I knew this was going to be terrible, but I didn't know quite how terrible it was going to be until he had the greatest quarterback of all time and still went 8-9. Like, how do you do that? At least Dennis Allen never had Tom Brady. This guy had Tom Brady and still had a losing record.
Can I tell you a fun story about Todd
in the
Bowles?
worst division on the planet?
Todd Bowles has gotten worse every year as a head coach. Statistically, analytically, with the Jets, the record got worse every year. He was 10-6 the first year with Fitzmagic, the great run Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Mm-hmm.
Then he broke him and went 5-11 two
Twice.
times. We didn't fire him, so he went 4-12. Now, if you think history tends to repeat itself, that means that your Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to go 3-14 twice, retain him a third time, and then go 2-15.
It's not happening.
And I personally, God, I don't ask for much, but if you could make the Todd Bowles era in Tampa Bay last a presidential term, it would make me so happy.
He has T-minus 11 months, whatever it is, 10 months, because I don't see a path where this team's going to be good. There could be moments, there could be games where they look decent just because they have talent on the rest of the team. But for the most part, you're going to trot out Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask as your quarterback. The best that those guys could possibly be. Is going to lead you to a 4-win record at best.
Hearing you say that your quarterback is going to be some combination of Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, I equate that to when the really good cook in your office goes, I brought cake, because it gives me this glee that just it fills me and I just makes me so happy.
It's going to be a terrible year. Again, I see high side, maybe 5 wins, and that's pushing it. And if that happens, Todd Bowles will be fired, fired.
So, and this is another thing that I have to touch on in our YouTube comments. Divine Comedy said he's a great defensive mind, though. Is he, though? But is he really? Total defense. All right. The analytical metric of...
Was this like DVOA?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Do you know how many years? He's been in the league since 2011. Do you know how many times he's had a defense that finished in the top 10?
5.
4.
It's close.
And guess what? That same thing I said about his record, it's happened with his defense too. They regress every single year. Todd Bowles would have been a really good defensive mind in about 1998. The problem is he plays this horrendously antiquated defense that good quarterbacks just sit back and go, oh, this is going to hurt. I'm going to hurt your feelings because I know what you're doing on every play. And all I have to do is find the weakness in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the more tape you get on it, the easier it is to figure out. And he has no counterpunch. One of the hardest decisions for me in this whole ranking was who's actually worse? Is it Todd Bowles or Dennis Allen? I think Todd Bowles is a better defensive coordinator. Or no, I said that backwards. Dennis Allen's probably a better defensive coordinator. Dennis Allen's also a worse head coach. And we're talking about head coach rankings. I have at least seen Todd Bowles win 10 games.
Right.
Now, I think he got walked into it.
Of course he did.
And then it all came just burning down after.
Just like John Gruden got walked into a Super Bowl.
Todd Bowles is the arsonist of the NFL. He walks into buildings, and the next thing you know, they're on fire.
Mm-hmm. And this one is no different.
No. And I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it burn. Good.
I can't either, frankly.
Yeah, I know. And that you're taking away a lot of the enjoyment that I should be getting of watching your little world burn.
Well, you burn it to the ground and you hope to God that you're the one that can play spoiler on that Arizona Cardinals having the first 2 picks in next year's draft.
I'm gonna laugh when you bring Todd Bowles back. That's my next great day. After watching Baker Mayfield
when we win 7 games this year and end up with the 12th pick.
Stop. Stop. It's already too good. It's too good.
It's too good. Good night. I had Todd Bowles as my 29, but Dennis Allen was my 28. So we're not too far off.
You're also a little biased.
A little.
Because Dennis Allen has never personally hurt you, and Todd Bowles has.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Light delays 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound stop and go beginning in the Naples area, approaching Hendersonville Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Again, 26 westbound stop and go between Brevard Road and I-40. 26 eastbound is slow between I-40 and the French Broad River. Again, 26 eastbound stop and go between Long Shoals Road and Airport Road. 40 westbound stop and go between the 26-240 split and Georges Branch Road. 40 westbound again stop and go near Newfound Road. Smoky Park Highway southbound stop and go between the Inca area and Sand Hill Road near Inca Village. Sand Hill Road delays between the Smoky Park Highway and Brevard Road. Brevard Road, north and southbound, is stop and go between the Bent Creek area and Avery Creek area near Fletcher. Hendersonville Road, north and southbound, approaching Fanning Bridge Road, stop and go. Sweeten Creek Road, southbound, stop and go between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Come shop Memorial Day deals now at Lowe's. Save on appliances with up to an additional $1,000 off select major kitchen appliances. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 5/31. Savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See store at Lowe's.com for details.
In this week's Marketers Report, Patrizio Spagnoletto, Global Chief Marketing Officer Direct-to-Consumer for Warner Brothers Discovery, weighs in on building trust.
Trust is a really hard thing to build and a really easy thing to destroy, and we have to be very respectful about that. Our partnership with iHeart has really helped us build that trust and that relationship with the on-air talent.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, trusted influencers, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Grab your shades, your flip-flops, and your free iHeartRadio app for the unofficial start of summer 2023. No matter where you go this summer, your favorite radio station, the music you love, and the best podcasts in the world will be along for the adventure. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
The Dell Technologies Summer Sale event starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs with Windows 11 Pro. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on essential accessories, plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. Offered to business customers by WebBank, who determines qualifications for and terms of credit.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zack with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
It's time to discover the convenience and time savings of contact-free pickup with Ingles Curbside. Just visit shop.ingles-markets.com or download the app. And your Ingles personal shopper gets to work with specialized training on how to select the freshest items for a pre-scheduled pickup. They'll even text you with updates. You pull up to a designated space and your personal shopper delivers your items right to your vehicle. Fresh, fast, and affordable. It's all in the bag. Ingles. Low prices. Love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family fun there, eh, Cot?
It's always fun here at the Sportsocracy on a Power Rankings Tuesday. You say, but wait, it's Friday. Yes, it's a
Power Rankings Tuesday.
No, Football Friday.
Oh, I had a 50-50 shot. Football Friday.
Just so it goes to show you, Jeremy doesn't actually listen when I start the program.
No, that's why I told you, put a screen in front of me, but I'm Ron Burgundy. I will read what's on that screen, so don't screw with me.
We're inside the Ingles studio on this Friday before an elongated weekend for us. Just programming note, we will not be with you on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week because of the Monday Memorial Day holiday, and then Tuesday because name's on the door, and then Wednesday, Braves baseball.
Yeah, we didn't want to come back for one day only to take another one off.
Exactly. So next Thursday is when we will reconvene here in the Sportsocracy.
And then minus a few Braves games. We're here for the long haul all the way till the 4th of July.
So it is a ceremonial Power Rankings Tuesday, since we're going to miss the next one, and it is a Football Friday as we're power ranking the head coaches in the NFL. So we got the bottom 5 out of the way. We got the great Dennis Allen or Todd Bowles, which one sucks more debate out of the way.
And I feel like there's one more that deserves to at least be discussed in that.
Well, I mean, at number 27,
Josh McDaniels.
Yep. We both universally had him as the third worst, most established coach in the NFL.
He's bad. Like bad.
He's absolutely terrible. And I mean, I hate to say I told you so, but I believe I told you so. When he was getting another shot, why do you expect this to go any differently than it did in Denver? And so far, I don't feel like it has gone much differently.
8-8, 3-9, 6-11. This is not a historically great coach, and he kind of falls into that same thing of, man, you really seem smart the closer you are to Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's just a coinky-dink.
There was a time where it was where he was thought to be the next quarterback whisperer, that this guy's gonna he's just gonna be able to mold every quarterback he gets his hands on.
Has he though?
No,
he molded Tom Brady, who was molded.
Mm-hmm. And since then, now his home run swing has been, I ran Derek Carr out of town, and I'm putting all my eggs in the basket of Jimmy Garoppolo.
And somebody should have really checked the old the old medical reports on that one. Hey, we signed Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, he's got a broken foot. Awesome. Jimmy, could we get Jimmy a glass of milk Please, like, okay, his bones he's like a soft-shelled turtle. You pick him up and, no! I broke it!
I killed my pet!
I killed it!
Oh, it's funny. Yeah.
The day of our wedding, Amy looked at me and she said, you remind me a lot of Chris Farley. And I think that's the nicest thing she's ever said to me.
Josh McDaniel coming in at number 27 because he's god-awful, and he is going to be in the same discussion of Dennis Allen and Todd Bowles. He is already there,
no doubt,
obviously, but I think given
that's
another
a three-man wolf pack right there.
Right, given another year, 2 years at best, you're going to look back and go, he's a failure everywhere he goes.
Okay,
when he's not with Bill Belichick.
I have to. This may be the stupidest question that I've ever asked on the show, but now I can't stop thinking about it. I said they're a three-man wolf pack. Which one's wearing a satchel, and why is it Josh McDaniel?
100%,
no doubt. Indiana Jones wore one. Mm-hmm.
Todd Bowles is not colorful enough for that.
No, Todd Bowles is. I think all of Todd Bowles' clothes they're all khaki. He's just he is the blandest human that there's ever been.
Well, he's the doctor of the group. Like, he's the dentist.
So
right?
He's the one that winds up getting his teeth removed?
He's Ed Helms, yeah. He's Ed Helms. He's got this, he's just straight and narrow, walks this perfect line, and then he cuts loose with the boys and kind of finds himself in too much trouble.
And then he winds up marrying an exotic dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Dennis Allen, there's not really a good comparison to him in the Hangover movie. I mean, because I just feel like he's the guy. Like, he can't be Bradley Cooper.
No. No. I don't think we have.
He's not the cool guy.
No.
I don't know. Anyway, number 26.
Matt Eberflus.
What have you done?
I didn't love you when you got hired, and you've done absolutely nothing to make me feel hunky-dunky about you.
No. Now, are you in the greatest of situations? Well, no.
I think it's better than people think.
It wasn't last year.
No.
I mean, if you don't win if you don't win more than 3 games this year, then yeah, we can start saying Matt Eberflus was a giant mistake. He hasn't had anything to work with yet.
You ever notice that Matt Eberflus looks like the bad guy in a Vin Diesel movie? He looks like he has a plan to take over the world.
Never.
Do you have a plan to fix Justin Fields?
No, because I'm a defensive coach. We bashed that when it happened.
My God.
You have a quarterback that you drafted in the first round, and the head coach that you're going to pair him with. Oh, it's a defensive coach. Awesome. Way to go.
Dear Lord, his hairline is hanging on like Indiana Jones. Just don't fall, don't fall, don't fall.
That's not Matt's fault, and we can't blame him for that.
Says the bald guy.
Exactly. At number 24, or 25, excuse me.
This might be the first one that surprises people. Brandon Staley. But he's won games. Has he won games, or has he been present when games were won? I've seen him lose several games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I've ever walked away and gone, yep, Brandon Staley really managed that situation. I go back to the playoff game where it was a lot to nothing, and you still found a way to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Because somehow Jacksonville rushed more times in the second half than you did. He didn't call the offense. No, he hired the guy that does, though.
Yep.
I couldn't have him any higher. Where did you have him? We did this together, but I don't have a track of what your list looked like.
I have him at 22. I have a few guys in between here and there. I know one of the names is probably going to get me in trouble, but I don't care. Matt Eberflus and then Brandon Staley. See, I can't put those two names in the same sentence.
Oh, I can.
It's just not there for me. I mean, if you win regular season games, I'm going to give you credit.
What's Brandon Staley's record? Been a head coach for 2 years. What's his record?
I don't know. 22 and whatever that works out to be. I don't know.
Man,
I don't do math well in my head.
Then it would be 22 and 12 in theory.
Okay, sure.
34 minus 20. Sorry, 19 and 15. and you did that with Justin Herbert and this collection of talent. Now, let me ask you a question. What would you have done with the Bears? All right, if Brandon Staley had somehow gotten through a couple coaching cycles and then wound up getting the Bears job, is he better or worse than Matt Eberflus? Or is it exactly the same, which is how I got here?
It might be exactly the same.
There you go. I think they're very much the same coach.
Maybe so.
I really do. I think they are very much the same coach.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I have no belief in him whatsoever.
All right, number 24.
And this one hurts me because I love this guy so much, but I can't have him ahead of anybody else because he just doesn't win. It's Arthur Smith. Oh, you're the mad scientist and you love analytics and all these things. No, you run because that's what bad coaches do in today's NFL. Because, no quarterback wants to play for you. That's why you had to settle for Taylor Heineken.
Is that true? Nobody wants to play for him?
Name me the quarterback that's jumped up and down about having Arthur Smith. Ryan Tannehill, who was one bad weekend away from working at a Bennigan's.
I mean, it worked for him. He transformed Ryan Tannehill's career.
Ryan Tannehill was this close to being the general manager of Mailman Motors, owned by Carl Malone.
And you're not wrong, but then he turned him into one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league. I mean, remember when we were having the discussions of since he joined the Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill's better than Tom Brady, statistically speaking? Those were facts, and facts don't care about your feelings.
Correct.
Now, was that ever true? No, it was never true. Ryan Tannehill was never better than Tom Brady, but at least he made it look that way. Now, since he's gone to Atlanta, I didn't expect that I would be much higher than you on Arthur Smith because I thought you loved the guy.
I do love the guy.
There's
another guy that's going to be in the next segment. I love him too. I just gave him higher.
Listen, though, the only thing that I have seen from the Atlanta Falcons since Arthur Smith took over is a different level of inspiration, I guess, is the right word to say here. I feel like he has way more cachet with his players than any coach in Atlanta ever had. And they have played harder for him than I think they would for anybody.
And I dispute none of what you just said.
There were some games in the past 2 years where you went, they shouldn't even be in this ball game. And then it ends up being a field goal game or a last-second touchdown game or whatever.
Okay.
I feel like that's because Arthur Smith is a good coach.
And I heard everything you just said, and that's entirely possible. There's also a possibility that Arthur Smith is the really smart, really weird guy that tells you about quantum physics, and then at the end of it looks at you and goes, I caught this bug. Do you want it?
I got this rock. It's got rubies in it.
It's a different kind of weird. One of them is natural. One of them might have been substance enhanced.
You didn't even ask how much it cost.
Bingo. I don't think that would have been Arthur Smith's at the end. He's like, I'm just trying to make a connection with another
Arthur
person.
Arthur Smith is the one that we disagree more on because he's in my top 20.
There are just guys I can't have in front of, and that's where I got to is that I can't. I had Arthur. I think in the beginning I had it at 17, and then I kept doing the head-to-head. Is he better than blank? Well, maybe, but you haven't actually done anything that would tell me that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of those that it's kind of merit-based drafting here. I need to actually have seen you do something as opposed to me just hypothetically thinking, well, he could be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought that about Bobby Ross at one point, too, and how did that work out?
GG Gambling in the YouTube comments says, but Arthur doesn't even have a quarterback that's the same caliber arm as Tannehill, and I think that's where I come down on him with the Atlanta Falcons.
I don't disagree with any of that.
He hasn't had a quarterback worth spitting on since he's been there.
He's also steering into kind of.
See, I don't agree because they have.
Well, let me think about. All right, so he's been an offensive coordinator and a head coach now for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's never put any stock into having the high-level quarterback. Ask yourself why, because I actually think he's that guy that thinks, I can win with. We're going to run the veer around here, running the old Lou Holtz offense. Best way to play football. Arthur's best way to play football. And I think there's a little element of that, he drafted Desmond Ridder. He had a huge say in that.
Mm-hmm.
He had a huge say in bringing in Taylor Heineke. These are all just ham sandwiches, and he seems to be fine with it. Same thing Ryan Tannehill was when he brought him in.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happened to work.
Right. So he's waiting to find out which one's going to work. Maybe he's got a plan for it. Maybe he doesn't. Who knows? But I don't feel like this team is going to be bad enough for them to get a superstar quarterback in the draft. I feel like this team is going to be right in that, 7 to, dare I say, 10-win area. They'll never get to 10, or I don't think they will. But I think they will be second place, third place in this division because I think that's going to be a close one.
Lou Holt's just glad somebody said his name in this conversation. Thank you for doing that.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. We'll pick it back up with number 23 in the head coach power rankings here on a Football Friday next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Watching low pressure spin up in the Atlantic and headed for the Carolina forecast for the weekend, making for a soggy Memorial Day weekend for us. Breezy weather also. 48 degrees our low tonight, increasing clouds. Rain chances kicking in for Saturday coming up from the southeast. High 60 degrees, over an inch of rain tomorrow, half-inch rains on Sunday, high 63, and then showers Monday, high 71. I'm meteorologist Scott Laurier-Moore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound stop and go between Hendersonville Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound stop and go between I-40 and Long Shoals Road. 40 westbound stop and go between Hendersonville Road and Bavard Road due to an accident. 40 westbound again stop and go between the 26-240 split and Newfound Road. Sweeten Creek Road southbound between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road is stop and go. Near Fletcher, Hendersonville Road north and southbound approaching Fanning Bridge Road is slow. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Discover credit cards do something pretty awesome at the end of your first year. They automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right. Everything you've earned, doubled. The cash back from trips, restaurants, all doubled. Seriously though, see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
Are you suffering from seasonal allergies? Because you're not alone. Experts say pollen season started earlier this year and will last longer, and that folks who've never had issues before are feeling miserable. I'm Martin Hoke, inventor of Navage, the world's only nose cleaner with powered suction. Over 3 million people use Navage to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, helping to flush out allergens, mucus, and germs. Navage helps clear your sinuses quickly and naturally. But what about other people's experiences, like Miss Clement? Quote, I chose Navage because of my persistent allergies. Navage works. While using it, I cut back on allergy meds and occasional shots at my doctor's office. Unquote. That's one of over 120,000 reviews with a 4.6-star average written by people who use Navage to breathe better, snore less, and feel healthier. Stop suffering and try Navage today at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Tired of a job with no spark? Then join Emery Electric, the Southeast's premier electrical contractor. Competitive pay, a supportive team, and career growth await. Power up your career. Visit EmeryElectric.com/careers. That's EMORY electric.com.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
This is the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. Weird stories can come from pretty much anywhere, but they seem to come from the same places a lot. Florida is very, very popular. California is that one, and this one comes to us from California. Actually, I'm not really sure where this occurred, but this is not your typical news story. This is a viral video that came out this week starring former child actor Ricky Schroder. Do you know who Ricky Schroder is, Jeremy?
I don't.
Okay, you would probably know the face. He was a very popular young child actor back in the 1980s. He was on the show Silver Spoons, a sitcom back in the day. And that's about it. I guess he was more memorable for his role in The Champ. It was a boxing movie with is that Lou Gossett Jr., I think, and Voight, John Voight, were in that. Ricky played a little kid in that movie in 1979.
He's another feller whose hairline is, running away.
I didn't see what his hairline looked like because in the viral video that came out this week, he was wearing a ball cap. But he goes on to talk about how when he was in Hollywood and he was a child, he was not old enough to drive, and he was hanging out with the older child actors who could drive. At some point, they found themselves in a scenario where somebody at one of their gatherings popped in a VHS tape that he had gotten from somebody in the movie business. And it was a scene of a very realistic-looking satanic ritual. Where there
took a hard right turn from where I thought we were
Exactly. So, well, this is playing down the narrative of Hollywood is run by satanic cultists, and they're trying to influence our media and have been doing so for years. And so whoever wants to look into this needs to go. I mean, this is very conspiracy theory type stuff, but he's actually like the third actor who's come out in the last 2 months with a similar story of this, of something to this effect. I think Henry Cavill was one. The guy that played Superman also said something about he got recruited to join a satanic cult or something by somebody that was in the movie business.
Another guy you seem to be telling a lot of people that have very receding hairlines today.
I mean, he tells this story about seeing body laying on a table, people with like hoods on and torches in the room, and they're chanting and some Sanskrit language or something, and then they cut this person open and pull their insides out. And then he said he watched it with somebody who he trusted, who was also in the movie business, and when he showed that to that person, they told him to get rid of the VHS tape, but let it stop there. And so he thinks that's very weird. That this person didn't say, who was it, basically playing into the narrative. We all know who's pulling the strings in Hollywood. I just thought it was funny that this is how we get reintroduced with Ricky Schroder over the years.
Or formally introduced for the first time in my case.
Right, and who's shocked that, former child actor has some weird conspiracy theory.
So
it is something to think about, I guess.
Tank and Brian Haynes were two of my right hands as I got married this past weekend. And I read this story, and I realized that we may have had an incidental effect here. Because something that I tortured my now wife with was that we were going to have a ring bear.
Yes.
Well, Haynes and I, we kind of let that die on the vine, and we never checked up on the bear. And I'm afraid he might be the bear involved in this story from Avon, Connecticut. Because there were workers at a bakery called Taste by Spellbound. It's a bakery that provides cakes and cookies and all kinds of baked things. They were loading a van for a delivery for a wedding this weekend. Van was in the garage. Black bear shows up and jumps in the van. They managed to scare the bear off, but the bear came back 3 times and ate every single one of their cupcakes that were going to this wedding. Now, I tell this story, A, because I wanted to make the ring bear joke. Also because this is the 4th bear attack in Avon, Connecticut in this calendar year. That's a lot for black bears because they're very usually scared of people. They want to stay away from you. It's very bizarre.
Not highly aggressive bears.
And you know how they got him to finally leave?
How?
They honked the horn of the car. Apparently, that was enough to scare him away for good after he had a lovely little snack.
Now, the difference between black bears and brown bears and grizzly bears, you try honking your horn at a brown bear or a grizzly bear, and they're probably going to eat the steering wheel.
Depends on if they are related to the 4th kind of bear, the cocaine bear.
Yeah. It is the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. We continue with the power rankings of the coaches in the NFL. We left off at number 24, where Jeremy gave us Arthur Smith. And that, I feel like you did that wrong, but I get your arguments.
Never actually won anything.
He hasn't won anything yet, so...
The next one, he's only a second-year coach.
If you want to crown him, go ahead and crown him.
Well, the next one, he's a second-year coach, and he won a lot of games. I still don't really believe in him. It's Kevin O'Connell of the Minnesota Vikings.
He was my 24.
I don't know what it is about this Vikings team that I think it is just going to come crashing to the earth. But the more I studied Minnesota from last year, it was way more lucky than good. There were a lot of things that Kevin O'Connell did that I went, I need you to explain how you got there. It worked, but those things tend to be very cyclical. And I'm not sure that he's a great coach. I would say he's one that probably has more play. I could see him crashing down to the Dennis Allen tier. I could also see 2 years from now we go, oh, yeah, remember when Jeremy didn't think he was a good coach? That was dumb.
I don't think with Kevin O'Connell it's we don't think he's a good coach. I think both of us are unsure of what kind of a coach he is. Because you have that offense, and I get it's your scheme, but I mean you came in with a ready-to-win roster, at least on offense. You came in with Kirk Cousins, who you can say what you want about him, big game Cousins, I get it. But this is a guy that's in the top 12 to 14 quarterbacks routinely every year in the NFL. We know he can sling the ball, and he's going to win you some games. You got Justin Jefferson, who is a top 2 wide receiver in this league at worst. You got Dalvin Cook, who's a damn good running back. For
now.
Well, yeah.
You have him for now.
But what I'm saying is you came in with a roster that was ready to compete. You competed. They were already threatening for championships. So I don't know how good you really are.
I keep going back to that Dallas Cowboy game I watched the next coach on this list absolutely run circles around you. And that coach is Mike McCarthy.
It's exactly where I had him.
History tells me you're not a good coach.
You won 1 Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, and then it got stale in a hurry.
Mike McCarthy, to me, is the definition of a kid that was born on third base and acts like he hit a triple. You have been put in some wonderful situations. I can't actually tell you anybody that you've made better, though. And I believe in the Cowboys a lot this year. If you told me that somehow this doesn't go the way it's supposed to and say they missed the playoffs, can you name any other entity that it would be at fault here than Mike McCarthy? Because I can't.
No.
I don't see a path that Dak Prescott is all of a sudden so bad that they don't make the playoffs.
No.
And I tie it back to that tells me you're probably just not very good at this. And I have no belief in him whatsoever.
He's okay at it. You give him elite talent, and he can win you some games. But when it comes down to it, is his coaching going to be the thing that tips you over the top? No, it's not. Mike McCarthy coming in at number, what was that, 22? 22. All right, he was 23 on my list. At number 21.
I'm going to catch some flack for this because there are some people that are fans of this team that are in our chat. So happens that I'm a fan of this team. Robert Saleh. I think he's a better coach than this. I don't know that. He says all the right things. He looks the part. I think he won more games last year with a roster that was probably not a 7-10 roster when you factor in the quarterback. But I don't know who I'm supposed to have in front of. Where did you said I was too low on him.
Well, it turned out I had him at 21. After I went through and there was a number issue where I had used one number twice. And so I thought he was at 20 for me. But no, he was actually my 21 because I agree with everything you're saying. He and Kevin O'Connell are in the same ballpark for me. I'm not really sure how good you are as a coach. I need more. What I've seen so far, I'm good with. You're good. I mean, and it feels like when you say this guy's in the 20s as a head coach, you automatically go, well, you just think he sucks. No, I think there are good coaches.
I think the NFL is pretty full of really good coaches.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. You realize once you get into the upper tiers of the head coach power rankings, you go, man, this is a tougher competition than I think.
Yeah, when you realize that there was a coach in the Super Bowl last year that I couldn't possibly put in the top 10, that kind of tells you how good this is.
Mm-hmm.
I think Saleh's a really good coach, and I think he's in a good situation this year. I just really haven't seen it.
I have Rob Saleh as my number 21 as well. Hey, you give the guy Aaron Rodgers a number 1 defense, which I give him full credit for, then maybe it's going to work. Maybe they'll finally get to the promised land.
I think he's a great defensive coordinator. I am not positive he's a great head coach.
You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. We get into the top 20 next.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 240 eastbound slow between exit 3 and exit 4A. 26 westbound stop and go between Hendersonville Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slowing between I-40 and Bavard Road. Again, 26 eastbound stop and go between Long Shoals Road and Airport Road. 40 westbound crawling between Sweeten Creek Road and Bavard Road due to an accident. 40 westbound again slow between the 26-240 split Malfunction Junction and Newfound Road. Near Fletcher, Hendersonville Road northbound approaching Fanning Bridge Road stop and go. Hendersonville Road northbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road slow. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road north and southbound near Long Shoals Road slow. Near Inca Village, Sardis Road moving from Sandhill Road to Bavard Road slow. Smoky Park Highway southbound slow between the Inca area and Sandhill Road. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Discover.
At Blue Ridge Health, everyone deserves access to top-notch, compassionate health care, no matter their insurance or income status. Keep your family healthy with updated immunizations for COVID-19, flu, chickenpox, and shingles. Health care for all people, including you. Learn more at brchs.com.
It's time to soak up those unofficial start of summer vibes with the free iHeartRadio app. Take your favorite radio station wherever you go and never miss the music you love, the latest news, or a chance to win the hottest prizes. Turn up the perfect summer soundtrack for your road trips, pool parties, and cookouts with specially curated playlists. Plus, dive into the world of podcasts and discover captivating stories that will keep you entertained for hours on end. So grab your shades, slather on the sunscreen, and make this summer unforgettable. Download the free iHeartRadio app now.
The Dell Technologies Summer Sale event starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs with Windows 11 Pro. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on essential accessories, plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. Offered to business customers by WebBank, who determines qualifications for and terms of credit.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
iHeart gives you access to the hottest music, events, and deals. But on June 1st, we're giving you access like never before. It's iHeartRadio Access Day, our 24-hour way of saying thank you for listening. Go to iHeartRadioAccessDay.com today.
You could experience everything the free iHeartRadio app has to offer with a 1-year subscription to iHeartRadio All Access. Head to iHeartRadioAccessDay.com to register to receive reminders for when all of the deals and experiences go live this Thursday.
At Ingles, we are proud to introduce our all-new curbside service. Just visit shop.ingles-markets.com or download the app to order, and our friendly staff will bring your groceries right to your car and have you ready to go in no time. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
This is the Sportsocracy on ESPN. Asheville Power Rankings Tuesday on a football Friday.
Just combine them all in one because we're not going to be here for 5 days.
That's right. We'll be back with you next Thursday, so we're going to miss Power Rankings Tuesday, so we're power ranking the coaches in the NFL. We're up to number 20. So far, there's one name that has not been mentioned on Jeremy's list that I'm just dumbfounded at.
Well, my
Let's
number
see
20
if he comes at 20.
Is Frank Reich.
Nope, not that one.
No, I know who you're waiting on.
That's way too low for Frank Reich, in my opinion. I mean, when I say way too low.
Based on what exactly? Hey, look, I think he's going to be great, and I absolutely love that he hired a hammer staff with the Carolina Panthers. But just what exactly has he done up until this point as a head coach that makes you go, that's way too low?
I mean, do you not believe that Frank Reich is a good coach?
He's fine.
Okay, well, we really haven't talked about good coaches yet.
And he's 7-9, 9-8, 10-6, 11-5. That's his career trajectory, and it seems to bounce around a lot. Now, I think the stability of having a quarterback in Carolina will change that, but the one that you're waiting for me to say is number 19, Ron Rivera.
Yeah,
one of them's been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And do I know that was a long time ago? Yes, sir, I do. I also tell you he's a defensive guy that had one of the best defenses of the last 25 years as a head coach. I haven't forgotten that. Yes, that is 1 year that was quite much of an outlier compared to the rest of his career. He has that. Nobody below him does. Well, Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl. Yeah, with Aaron freaking Rodgers. Ron Rivera turned a great defense out of very few stars. And he's been a good to serviceable coach his entire career. I don't know when we passed ships in the night, because you used to make fun of me for saying, I don't think Ron Rivera is as great as everybody's cracking him up to be. And then somehow you've taken up that mantle.
Because I thought at some point he would show us what we all think he is. See, he's a great guy. And so we all go, well, Ron Rivera, I mean, he's a good coach in this league. He's a guy that I'd want to play for. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we said when he got the job in Washington that he was the perfect guy for this turmoiled franchise to build,
and see, I think
to
there's
build
a merit
character.
and I think there's a merit to that.
Okay, I don't give that a whole lot of credit. I mean, that's great that you can be the rah-rah guy and all of that. I mean, I have a name on my list that's probably higher than yours because he's the rah-rah guy.
And I don't love the rah-rah guy. I love the culture guy. And he is a culture guy.
Yeah, but when I say that, it's the same thing. Rah-rah and culture guy is the same thing.
And those mean two very different things to me.
Really?
Rah-rah is the, you can do it, shut up. I know, okay? I got here. I'm well aware.
Ron Rivera has never had back-to-back winning seasons in his career since he had an 11-5 season with the Carolina Panthers in 2017. He has not won more than 8 games as a head coach in any single season. He's just not that good.
I don't disagree with you. I do not disagree with you. He has a much deeper track record than virtually every coach behind him.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hypothesis of what he is. And there's a great possibility that they can't get to that 8-9 win plateau that Rivera's lived in. Rivera, to me, is the definition of average. That's why his record is always the definition of average. There's another one coming up real soon that has the same problem because now he doesn't have a quarterback.
Yep. I wanted to see a long career of success for Ron Rivera, and it never came. No. I got 3 good years in your 12-year career as a head coach. I think we're good.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Watching low pressure spin up in the Atlantic and headed for the Carolina forecast for the weekend, making for a soggy Memorial Day weekend for us. Breezy weather also. 48 degrees our low tonight, increasing clouds. Rain chances kicking in for Saturday coming up from the southeast. High 60 degrees, over an inch of rain tomorrow. Half-inch rains on Sunday. High 63, and then showers Monday. High 71. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Verizon. Ready to take control of your phone plan? Well, then you better take that next turn to a Verizon store. Because my plan from Verizon is the kind of control we all deserve. Get exactly what you want. Only pay for what you need. Get my plan at your Verizon store today.
Take the stress out of your job search. Visit expresspros.com for jobs from a variety of industries. With more than 860 locally owned offices, the Express team is ready to help you find your next job. Go to expresspros.com.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm Doug Brown. After months of trade speculation, wideout DeAndre Hopkins is now a free agent, cut by the Cardinals today with 2 years left on his contract. The Cardinals will save just over $8 million in cap space. The Bills, Ravens, and Patriots are among the teams reportedly interested in getting Hopkins. So now the Miami Heat lead the Eastern Conference Finals 3-2 over the Celtics. The Heat get one more chance to wrap up this series at home. Only problem is they now have to figure out again how to stop the Celtics. ESPN's Tim Legler.
Boston was a better team than the Heat over the course of the regular season. So it's very unusual for a team that's a better team, that's healthy, to be down 3-0 in a series. Once they find their rhythm, right now Boston is reminding themselves of that they are a better team.
Tim Legler on Get Up. Gabe Vincent of the Heat questionable with his sprained left ankle. Boston's Malcolm Brogdon questionable with a right forearm strain. Game 6 tomorrow night in Boston.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Green, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the sportsocracy. Presented by Ingalls Supermarkets.
This is the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And you can hear us and take us with you everywhere you go on the iHeart Radio app. Watch us live on YouTube, and that's how you get involved with the program, through the chat on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link. Once you're through to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and that's your ticket into the chat. Speaking of tickets, you have to get in now to get the early bird special on the Ultimate Draft Weekend contest. If you're just joining us, you haven't been around since we've been mentioning this for the last week or so, but we have teamed up with some partners who are going to help us put together a banger of a weekend for you and your fantasy football league.
And the partners are spreading by the day. This is getting bigger by the hour.
It is going to be a fun weekend. It's no doubt the biggest undertaking that we have taken on as a show. It is just a way to say thank you to you for patronizing us and patronizing our sponsors, which you'll hear more about the sponsors of this show, of this contest, coming up as soon as possible. But the Ultimate Fantasy Draft Weekend, get your tickets now because we got double tickets until Wednesday. This is our last show until Thursday of next week, so we can't remind you other than to remind you on social media, which we will do every day until it is over. But this will be our last live show to remind you. Double tickets into the Ultimate Fantasy Draft Weekend contest until next Wednesday. We got the QR codes that'll flash up on the screen. You can use those QR codes to get to the contest and the different tiers that you can buy and the different chances that you can have to win. Or you can click the links in the description of the YouTube video, or you can go onto our social medias where it's all posted. It's going to be a phenomenal weekend that you want to get involved in. And again, you can just buy tickets for this. You don't have to play DFS with us, but double tickets until Wednesday. Now, top of the third hour of the program here, we continue with our Power Rankings Tuesday, which we're going to miss Tuesday, so we threw it in here and made this a Football Friday, Jeremy.
Football Friday!
Power ranking the head coaches in the NFL, and we're inside the top 20 as you drop that little bombshell on us right there before the SportsCenter update that Ron Rivera is a top 20 coach in the league.
I don't think that's spicy.
It is.
He's made it for quite a long time, and you're hypothesizing about damn near everybody behind him.
Indeed. But the hypothesizing and the guesstimations are better than what I've seen Ron Rivera be as a head coach over the last 6-7 years.
Not necessarily. That's the thing about hypothesizing. It could be real bad.
At number 18,
Kevin Stefanski. I'm going to go ahead and do 17 as well because I think they're the same guy.
Okay.
Mike McDaniel. I think you're both really smart offensive guys. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure either one of you's a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're talking about hypothesizing and Ron Rivera. I know what he is. Yeah, I know what Ron Rivera is. And it's probably not better than the baseline of these two guys, but it could be.
Mm-hmm.
It could be. Because these two could crash off into the ocean. And now, the upcoming year, both of these teams have improved rosters. As long as their health is intact, I'm mitigating some risk with what I saw from Stefanski last year. Some questionable decisions by McDaniel last year. But I think they're both good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that these are two of my favorite coordinator hires the last 8 years. So I think you're good. It could go the wrong way, but I would say there's a better chance that it won't.
Mm-hmm. I had Kevin Stefanski as my 19, and I had Mike McDaniel as my 20. So we're in the same ballpark, and I feel exactly about them as you did. The high side could be really good, but it's also one of those things, if you didn't have Tua Tagovailoa playing at an MVP level, which I give him some credit for, but he also has Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. He has an amazing group of wide receivers to throw to, and I just don't know if the talent outweighs the coaching in this scenario, much like Kevin O'Connell.
The other thing about McDaniel is, and the reason I had him slightly ahead of Stefanski, it took 1 year for McDaniel to figure out, oh, no, I need a former head coach on the opposite side of me with Vic Fangio.
Mm-hmm.
It took Stefanski several years to figure that out. That was actually the determining factor because, I'll be honest with you, I think it's the same guy. But I have high hopes for both.
Yep. I still have high hopes for Kevin Stefanski, but I'm also reaching that point of, well, if you don't get it done this year, then it's time to move on.
Yeah, I like Stefanski a lot, and I may be clinging on to that. Satisfied Browns fan said 18, Jeremy, you're higher on him than I am. I was super high on him when he got hired,
mm-hmm.
and so there's still some credits there.
Yes,
I do not hold last year against him because I think he was put in an absolute no-win situation.
All right, next up,
number 16, the Motor City Madman, Dan Campbell. I'm sure somebody's going to say, man, that seems high. It's Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was quite possibly the most laughably stupid hire I'd ever seen. And then I went back through his entire career in coaching and going, it's weird that everywhere he goes, whatever he is entrusted with seems to get better every single time. And so, yeah, he's a little crazy, crazy. Yes, he needs to learn how to tuck in dress shirts, because Untuck It, big dog. How about we just call Untuck It? They sponsor a lot of stuff. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Untuck It shirts?
No, well, that,
I was
obviously.
like, I've heard of them.
At the press conference for Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell, he showed up with a shirt that looked like it was about 7 times too long. Untucked as a button-up with jeans.
So he went with
I'm that guy.
So he went with the XXLT.
Bingo.
Bought from the Big and Tall store and then wore it without tucking it in. Okay.
Bingo.
Fashion faux pas.
He had the extra buttons, that they hide because you're supposed to tuck it in.
Yeah.
Those buttons were still on the bottom of the shirt.
And that's why, free spot for Untuck It. That's why they made those shirts, so you don't have to tuck them in.
100%. Untuck It. If you want to sponsor this here program, I ain't hard to find, and I love your shirts.
You and I, spot on with Dan Campbell. You actually had him ranked higher than I did. I had him as my 17th best coach.
I feel like he's the point guy, and I got to give him credit for you've done a really good job of hiring staffs, because I think Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson are going to be head coaches in this league a year from now.
Mm-hmm. Go, what has he won? Well, I mean, he was 9-8 with a Detroit team that none of us believed in last year. And we all pretty much believe that they're the favorite to win the NFC North. And that's not a coincidence.
I do think they're the favorite. I don't think it's as overwhelming as people are making it out to be. It's still the Lions. It's still Jared Goff.
Absolutely.
But I do think Dan Campbell has done a phenomenal job with the Lions.
All right, top 15.
Matt LaFleur.
He is just dry white toast.
Well, if you look at him career-wise, he should be higher than this. I think in terms of winning percentage, he's one of the 8 best coaches of all time. But I feel like he's another one of those that does a little with a lot. Dan Campbell's done a lot with a little. And I wanted to put Dan Campbell in front of him, but I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You've just done way more. Your track record is way better. I don't know that he's even a good coach. You somehow found a way to crash Aaron Rodgers into the rocks and miss the playoffs last year in a bad NFC.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know how. You almost had to try.
Well, I mean, we know how that happened. The relationship soured.
No doubt.
And the relationship soured mainly because when you had a shot the last time you had a shot to make it to the Super Bowl, what did Matt LaFleur do? The game was on the line, and he took the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands. That ruins any relationship you ever had. Look, people make a big deal about Aaron Rodgers only winning 1 Super Bowl, and I think a lot of that had to do with the coaching. Oh, look, he had Mike McCarthy and Matt LaFleur. Yay! These are not Hall of Fame coaches that he's been playing for.
There is a great possibility that Matt LaFleur is nothing more than a better-looking version of Mike McCarthy that doesn't look like he's Tank's older brother.
But
I didn't realize that until I saw a picture of Mike McCarthy that looks like it should have Tank Spencer sitting next to him at a family gathering.
Right. I don't know how good this team's ever going to be with Matt LaFleur.
There's more play in Matt LaFleur than anybody, because if he somehow finds a way to win 10 games with Jordan Love, next year he's in the top 8. Period.
Possibly. Yeah.
And to me, that's a period. But there's also the possibility that you go 5-12 with Jordan Love, and next year you're, selling insurance for Geico.
I don't know that there's a chance that he gets fired after a year with Jordan Love.
Oh, I do. If this Green Bay thing crashes into the rocks, you mark my words, they will uproot everything that's not attached to the ground.
You think so?
Trust me.
But they're not a franchise that does that. Isn't that what you'd always tell me?
They're a franchise that doesn't do that with free agents. They have a lot of young players. I'm talking Gutekunst. I'm talking the entire front office, the head coach. We have given you your chance. You got what you wanted. You have made your bed. Now lay in it.
If Jordan Love is what I think he's going to be, which is god-awful, then I think he'll get a pass for not winning very many games.
I don't, because from what a little birdie has told me, this is exactly what LaFleur wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I want to show that I'm the guy. Me and Aaron have a contentious relationship. Give me Jordan Love. He's coachable. I can win with this team. And that's fine. You can believe in yourself. But when it blows up in your face, it blows up in your face.
You better be able to back it up. Number 14.
Sean McDermott. Ron Howard's little brother. I don't know what to do with him. There's no coach in the NFL that does more things that I go, but why did you do that? Like, how did you do that? And I'm afraid, and I want to be the more I have thought about this, and I'm sure somebody caught this earlier when we were talking about DeAndre Hopkins to the Buffalo Bills. I have a weird feeling that you're going to see a massive regression with Buffalo for one reason. Leslie Frazier. Because he's not there. For this year, Leslie Frazier's taking a little sabbatical.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's all on Sean McDermott. And I have this funny feeling that when you put the defense on him, all on him, that you're going to see he's not that great of a coach.
Wait, the way that the defense was all on him when he was with
coordinator.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's coordinator. As a head coach, it's a much bigger deal.
Okay.
When, hey, now I've got to do it all.
I was just going to say.
Because you're no longer the CEO of the program. You better really trust Ken Dorsey, because a lot of your time is going to be fixated on that defense, which is not as stalwart as you want to say it is.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason he ended up with this job.
I agree.
And it was because he did a hell of a job running the defense for Ron Rivera in Carolina. And when that happened, I believe we could go back and find some tape somewhere. I mean, I'm not going to do it because it takes too much time. But I believe we could find the tape somewhere where Tank said they should have fired Ron Rivera and made Sean McDermott the head coach. And I still stand by that.
And
I feel like the path of this team could have been different.
And I'm going to go one step further. I think there is a better than zero chance that 5 years from now, Sean McDermott and Ron Rivera are indistinguishable from each other.
And they very well
One
may
had
be.
a much better quarterback. Yes, Josh Allen was much better than Cam Newton. Carolina fans, stop adding me. Okay?
Nobody's going to
history.
disagree with that.
You'd be shocked.
I mean, maybe in that 1 year. But other than that,
well, one of them won an MVP and went to a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. So did Trent Dilfer. Okay? It's fun how things.
He
I
never
can
won an MVP, but.
Well, yeah, I was talking about the latter part. I can make things say whatever I want.
Well, see, that's and that's kind of part of my thing with Ron Rivera is you needed one of the greatest seasons we ever saw from a quarterback to get you to that Super Bowl.
Sean McDermott's just another one of those guys that at this point, the fact that you haven't been to a Super Bowl as the favorite in the AFC for 3 straight years, I am starting to go, I think I've read this book before. And now the AFC is Murderer's Row. And I'm looking at, I'll give you an example. One that people said I was too low on. Robert Saleh. Is there a chance Robert Saleh is a better coach than Sean McDermott? He's just never had talent like this. Mike McDaniel. I could do this for a minute.
Yep. You're a little low on him for me. I had Sean McDermott at 12. Number 13. Coming up after the break right here on ESPN Asheville as we are working through on a Power Rankings Tuesday / fantasy football. Just football.
Tank
just football Friday.
Tank actually had a stroke on camera. I witnessed him do it. Somebody send help because he forgot the English language.
We got 5 days coming up off of this program. For some reason, I just switched it off because I am just focused on having some fun this evening. By the way, if you're not doing anything tonight, come on down to the Silverados Music Park in Black Mountain or Swannanoa, I guess, not technically in the city or in the town of Black Mountain, but right across the street from the Ingalls Distribution Center. Silverados Music Park tonight. It's going to be one of the best shows ever. I mean, for me. Georgia Thunderbolts and, of course, Blackberry Smoke tonight on the main stage. I'll be there. The kids will be there. You should be there, too.
Time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic stop and go 240 westbound between Tunnel Road and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound stop and go between Hendersonville Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound crawling between Long Shoals Road and Airport Road. 40 westbound crawling between Sweeten Creek Road and Bavard Road due to an accident. 40 westbound light delays between the Smoky Park Highway and George's Branch Road. 40 westbound at Newfound Road, traffic very busy. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Hendersonville Road northbound near Fletcher, approaching Fanning Bridge Road, very busy. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road north and southbound at Long Shoals Road, slow. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Make your summer getaway a new bed during Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale. Save up to 60% with queens starting at just $169.99. Plus, save up to $500 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable base mattress sets and get a $300 instant gift.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with little tips for a healthier planet. October is Energy Awareness Month and a good time to assess your home to make sure you're ready for the season's cooler temperatures. Keep your window shades open on sun-facing windows during the day to get free solar heat, and close them after dark to add a little extra insulation. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
Calling all true crime podcast fans. Tune into Freeway Phantom and join a new investigation into the 50-year-old unsolved murders of 6 young black girls in Washington, D.C. Explore startling new evidence that could crack these cold cases wide open and bring as many questions as they do answers.
We still care, and it still hurts. We just want to know what happened.
Listen to Freeway Phantom on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Our communities are filled with wonderful people who make living here great. At Home Trust Bank, we're proud of that. And that's why we focus on helping homeowners prepare for what's next. Our local mortgage bankers have the experience you need and exceptional personal service you'll appreciate. Home Trust Bank is ready to help make a house your home. When it's time to buy, visit your local Home Trust branch or go to htb.com/mortgage.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Did you know Ingalls only sells USDA Choice and Prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
Let's open up the whole can and kick ass and kill them all. Let the paramedics sort them out.
You are back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, coming to you from the Ingalls studio on a Football Friday / Power Rankings Tuesday, as we continue to power rank the head coaches in the NFL, as we're going to miss this upcoming Power Rankings Tuesday. So, number 13.
And I want to do 12 and 13 together because I think they're the same guy.
Okay.
13 is Nick Sirianni, and 12 is Zac Taylor. Take the journey with me.
All right.
They've both been to Super Bowls.
Yep.
And lost.
Yep.
With prodigious offenses and really good coordinators. You tell me the discrepancy between the two. The difference, I've seen Zac Taylor do it for 2 years. I've seen Nick Sirianni do it for 1. That's it. That's it.
It's not a bad pairing. It feels weird saying this after their first years. We were none too pleased with what we saw from these two guys, And then, lo and behold, Cincinnati, of course, has the big breakthrough with Joe Burrow in his second season after the injury-riddled first year. And then Jamar Chase, and then it took off. I look at Nick Sirianni, though, and I go, I don't know if I put most of the transformation on the assistants or him. Of Jalen Hurts growing into this legit, like, MVP level quarterback, I just don't know who to put all of that on. Nick Sirianni's got to have some credit for this, right? It wasn't all just Shane Steichen.
No, I don't think it was all Shane Steichen or Jonathan Gannon. I would be reticent if I didn't point out, you do recall how many times we talked about Nick Sirianni being completely over his skis and, frankly, being kind of a moron. Well, all of a sudden you have one great year where we told you it was coming because you played the easiest schedule in the NFL, and now all of a sudden he's a genius. No. Satisfied Browns fan said, I called Zac Taylor an idiot 3 years ago. I did, and then New Information surfaced. And I'm the reason I put these two together, if you put either one of them with the Washington Commanders, they're both 7-10. I think they're good coaches. I don't think anyone's great. But you give them top 5 in the NFL quarterbacks, and, yeah, they're weird. Win a lot of games.
Right. I mean, Zac Taylor might be able to finally get what greatness is inside Antonio Gibson out, but but as Nick Sirianni has proved, he is not loyal to the greatest running back on his roster already, so he's just another Ron Rivera.
Dylan Graves has a really good point in our YouTube comments as well. Is Jalen Hurts the same quarterback when the money runs thin? That's what I really want to see out of the two of these guys. You both have had quarterbacks on rookie deals. That is let the good times roll. I have a top 5 quarterback who is cheap. What happens when they're no longer cheap? The talent gets a little thin, and now it's more on the coaching. That's the reason that there are certain coaches that have single-digit numbers next to their name that I look at and go, yeah, there's a reason why. Because you've managed to do that.
Yeah. And I know just 1 year of it is taking a leap here, but I'm wondering if years from now we'll look back on Nick Sirianni and this style offense and go, well, that was just a fad that worked for a couple of years.
So you think it'd be like the Wildcat?
Yeah. Like, it might take some time to figure this out, but everybody's going to start doing it, and every defensive coordinator is going to figure out a way to stop it. And then we'll go back to the pocket passer era.
Well,
maybe.
Well, I mean, and I'm not trying to throw shade at Indianapolis here. I'm really not. But you don't seem to understand, or at least a lot of people don't seem to understand, that you put a mobile quarterback like that behind the best offensive line in the league, a top 8 tight end, one of the 4 or 5 best receiver pairings in the league. Oh, and they had a top 2 or 3 defense in the league. That's a lot of pieces that made this look good. And if I had to rank in order who I thought it was because of, Nick Sirianni probably doesn't. I'd have to take multiple breaths before I got to him.
I'm just saying he made it to a Super Bowl with an offensive style that in years from now it could either be seen as revolutionary and it changed the entire game, that everybody wants to copy this model, or it could be the next Wildcat, as you said, of, okay, it was fun for a minute, but then we figured it out, and the league is a passing league, and you cannot win with a run-heavy offense any shape or form. Right? If you do it the Tennessee Titans way where the actual running back is doing the running, or you do it the Baltimore Ravens / Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah.
Philadelphia's the case study.
Yeah.
Because Jalen Hurts is still not an elite thrower of the football. If it continues to work, then we have found a new wrinkle that will work for the long haul. When the money gets thin, like Dylan said, if it regresses, then you've basically got your answer.
So Nick Sirianni, Zac Taylor in at 12 and 13.
10 and 11 are the last two that I think you could have any form of qualm with. If your top 9 is not the same guys in some variation of order, I'm going to need you to explain that to me. Number 11 is Doug Peterson. He's a really good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Really good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl winning coach.
Mm-hmm.
But is he one of those elite guys? Is he?
Maybe. Could be.
2 or 3 years from now, that's a discussion.
Don't know.
I don't think it's one right now.
No.
If he can get Jacksonville over the hump and they can do and I hate to say this way, but the Buffalo Bill thing, where you progress about a round every year and then you end up in the Super Bowl, now we have 10 names that need to be discussed this way.
Mm-hmm.
Until I see you do that, you're just on the outside. But you do have Trevor Lawrence and just a whole boatload of weapons.
Okay.
And look at the difference year over year. You want to know how much difference a coach makes? Look at the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2021 and 2022.
Absolutely. Doug Peterson was a little higher on my list. I had him ranked at 9.
I cannot wrap my brain around how you have any of the guys that are in my top 9 behind Doug Peterson. And whenever we say the one that it is, because there's going to be a lot of angina about the guy at 10, because he's only in his second year, and his name is Brian Daboll.
Yeah, I didn't have Brian Daboll ahead of him.
Where did you have Daboll?
13. I got Brian.
I can't be mad at that.
I have Brian Daboll just behind. My 11 was Nick Sirianni. My 12 was Sean McDermott. My 13 was Brian Daboll. And it's not that I don't believe in somebody's meemaw. It's that I just, I like what you did in year 1. I didn't think this was a very competitive team, and you turned them into a playoff team.
So you could have Daboll, Peterson, Taylor, Sirianni in any order. You will get no qualm from me.
Yep.
Here's the difference, and here's why Daboll is this high to me. Name me one team any of those other 4 guys have had that was as talentless as that Giant team that they got to the playoffs. I'll go ahead and tell you, there ain't one, and it ain't close.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that, for me, that's where I see a high-level coach. When you can make chicken salad out of chicken squat, that's a great coach. And I think he's only going to get better. I'll be honest with you, the team that I have the most hesitation about is the Giants. Because I look at the schedule, I look at the roster, and I don't see how you're going to be better than 7 and 10 or 8 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
But then I keep coming back to Brian Daboll going, if he's as good as I think he is, you're going to find a way to do it, and you're going to make me look stupid.
Mm-hmm. You're in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. Brian Daboll, number 10 on our power rankings of the coaches in the NFL.
And now we're to the big dogs. They've been in the league for a long time. There's really no discussion that they're great. But what order will they fall in?
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Watching low pressure spin up in the Atlantic and headed for the Carolina forecast for the weekend, making for a soggy Memorial Day weekend for us. Breezy weather also. 48 degrees our low tonight, increasing clouds. Rain chances kicking in for Saturday coming up from the southeast. High 60 degrees, over an inch of rain tomorrow. Half-inch rains on Sunday. High 63, and then showers Monday. High 71. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic stop and go 240 westbound between Tunnel Road and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound stop and go between Hendersonville Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound crawling between Long Shoals Road and Airport Road. 40 westbound crawling between Sweeten Creek Road and Bavard Road due to an accident. 40 westbound light delays between the Smoky Park Highway and George's Branch Road. 40 westbound at Newfound Road, traffic very busy. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road north and southbound, approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Hendersonville Road northbound near Fletcher, approaching Fanning Bridge Road, very busy. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road north and southbound at Long Shoals Road, slow.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Print and Marketing Services help small business print big. Now get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more. Offer ends July 1st. Visit staples.com/printbig for details. This is your sign to try Staples, where your prints are perfect, guaranteed.
Progressive presents an ad from Mom.
When you bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive, bundle, that's a cute word. What? Read it again? Okay. When you bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive, you get round-the-clock protection. Oh, That's darn good. Because once my older sister Dottie, her basement flooded.
Get round-the-clock protection when you bundle and save with Progressive. It's easier than getting your mom to make this radio ad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
iHeart gives you access to the hottest music, events, and deals. But this Thursday, we're giving you access like never before. It's iHeartRadio Access Day, our 24-hour way of saying thank you for listening. Go to iHeartRadioAccessDay.com today.
Want a $100 shopping spree on the latest fashion, home goods, or beauty products? Well, that's what Temu, the most downloaded app in the App Store, is offering on iHeartRadio Access Day. So head to iHeartRadioAccessDay.com today to register for reminders when deals go live this Thursday.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zack with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
The Sportsocracy.
What are you people? On dope?
ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. It is a football Friday here in the Sportsocracy and an honorary Power Rankings Tuesday, since we will not be with you Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week.
It's a 5-day vacation, folks.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. We'll be back with you on Thursday, of course, to wrap up all of the talk about the where we stand going into the NBA Finals as Jeremy gets ready to celebrate his
2023 NBA champion Denver Nuggets.
And
I can't wait till we got 4 more wins, folks, and then I will have put it into the air. I will have made it a thing.
And who knows what curveballs the NFL is going to throw us, like today with DeAndre Hopkins being released. We talked to the first hour about that scenario and how Kyler Murray's completely behind all of it and where he could possibly end up. It's the Buffalo Bills. Jeremy thinks it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Ooh, could that be a torture ticket? Jeremy has to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Gross. Gross.
If DeAndre Hopkins ends up with the Buffalo Bills instead,
I'll put a torture ticket on
that. I like that. Yeah, we can shop that around. House of Reprehensibles, what do you think? Torture ticket on where DeAndre Hopkins ends up? We are going through the power rankings of the head coaches in the NFL. Before the break, Jeremy gave us number 10, and it's the reigning NFL Coach of the Year, somebody's meemaw, Brian Daboll. At number 9,
Mike Vrabel. I feel like he's the worst of this tier of coaches, but he belongs here.
Okay.
He's done a lot with very little. I think Mike Vrabel's a great coach. Spells his name wrong, but
I would agree that he's a great coach. I mean,
but is he an elite coach?
I
almost feel like he's in a tier to himself.
Okay.
Does that sound untoward?
Explain what you mean by that. Why is he in a tier by himself?
Because I don't think he's elite, but I also don't have many questions about him.
Okay.
I still have some questions about Daboll. I'd need to see you do it again. Doug Peterson, and man, that really ended bad in Philadelphia. Zac Taylor and Sirianni, you've got really great rosters. What happens when things get tight? I know what Vrabel is.
Okay.
And I don't think he's up there with the pillars of this league that are in front of him.
No.
But I think he deserves to be in the conversation. Just at the end of that conversation.
All right. I mean, we we feel like he's a good coach. He obviously has the respect of his players, and he can give you those inspirational moments. And I look at Mike Vrabel and Dan Campbell as very similar characters.
Yeah, they both would scare the bejeebers out of you if you met them in a dark alley.
But they have that former player. They have they have the relationship with their players and the buy-in and all of that, and they can inspire you.
They get a lot out of guys.
I don't know how far Mike Vrabel can take you as a head coach. I mean, he had Arthur Smith, who was doing the offensive stuff when he won the majority of his games as a head coach. This past season, I mean, they had issues. And
they had issues because they had Malik Willis playing quarterback for an extended period of time.
And I don't doubt any of that.
Well, you know what will get Vrabel into the elite conversation? Make Will Levis a legit big boy NFL starting quarterback.
Sure. If you can do that, then absolutely.
And I know he doesn't have a much hands-on with the offense. I get that. It's still your staff. Falls on you.
Number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs last year, got bounced out of the first round. Now, granted, they lost to the eventual AFC champion in the Cincinnati Bengals, but still, I can't put him in the elite of the elite tier. But he is inside the top 10.
No doubt.
He's my 10.
He's here at 9 for me, pretty much in a tier by himself.
At number 8.
Sean Payton. You want to say this is low.
I do, but I can't really.
You can't.
I can't really say it's low.
Because a lot of the knock that has been on several of these others, I've never really seen you win without Drew Brees. Now, you come into Denver and you turn something out of you make something out of Russell Wilson, next year you're in the top 5 because you're very close to the 3-4 actually directly in front of you. But I can't do it. This is the same problem I had with Belichick for a long time. If you take Brady away from him, he's a very average coach. Yes, you deserve the credit for making Brady, but then you get into these other things that push it down a little, or make it closer. I shouldn't say push it down. And with Sean Payton, I'm really curious to see what happens now in Denver. I don't think there's any way that we do this next year. I don't see a way he's not in the top 10 because you do have enough history and enough cachet to – I'm not going to completely kill you if you come into Denver and go 5-12. Now, if you come into Denver and go 9-8 and threaten for a playoff berth, yeah, you're better than I think you are.
I think he is better than you think he is. I have him a little higher on my list. He was my 6. And, you know, maybe Sean Payton is doing that thing where or he's an example of where, you know, the winning with one of the great all-time coaches can pull the wool over your eyes like you have claimed for years that has happened with Bill Belichick. But the fact that I don't know. I just have so much faith in Sean Payton. He's a brilliant offensive mind, and Drew Brees, I didn't feel like he was a superstar until he got with Sean Payton.
He was very good before that. He became a star with Payton. And Payton deserves the credit for that. That's why he's here at 8. But I can't have him in front of any of the ones in front of him.
Okay. Number 7.
Kyle Shanahan. There is a merit to just always being good. There's also a question of why are your players hurt all the time, and why do you never win big games? I have to put him in front of Payton because I think he has been a visionary to the NFL. You are seeing
more than Payton.
There are more tentacles off the Kyle Shanahan tree at this point in his career than Sean Payton could even imagine.
Okay.
There are more elements of what it is Kyle Shanahan does being done throughout the NFL than Sean Payton could ever dream of. He was just really good at doing what it is he does. I love Shanahan. I think he's a great coach. I don't think he's ever going to be an elite coach, though. I have this weird feeling he will be that Marv Levy type of, yeah, you were here every year, but you never won anything. You never won it. You never could do it.
Dan Reeves.
Dan Reeves won a Super Bowl, though.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
Dan Reeves was just around he was just around for a billion years.
Yeah, somehow I keep forgetting about that. I'm right there with you on Kyle Shanahan. He was my 8. I did have Sean Payton ahead of him, though.
I can't. And I don't know why. Maybe it's a recency that he missed a year. I don't know. Because I would say 3 years ago I probably had Sean Payton in front of him. But then Shanahan just keeps doing it with different quarterbacks. And the coordinators change, and yet everything stays the same.
Right. But you can only get so far. And until you win the big one, that's always going to be hanging over your career.
I mean, and I had to bump him up a spot because he stopped wearing that great kazoo hat that looked like those goofy, oversized hats that people wear now.
Number 6?
I feel like I have to do 5 and 6 together, and this is going to ruffle somebody's feathers, and I have a reason for it. 6 is Mike Tomlin.
Okay.
5 is John Harbaugh.
Okay.
I feel like they can't be very far apart from each other because they're practically the same guy.
They're not. One was my 4, one was my 7.
Which one was your 7?
Mike. It's Mike Tomlin. Look, I make fun of...
I can't believe you had them that far apart.
I had Sean Payton and another name that we haven't mentioned yet in between them. I feel like there's a lot of splitting hairs when you get this high on the coaching list. And, look, I make fun of Stephen Tao every time he brings up, 9 and 8, that's the Steeler way. But there is some truth to that. And so... if you're competitive every year, yes, there's something to be said for that, and yes, that is the hallmark of a great coach. I don't know. I just feel like John Harbaugh's a little better.
16 years as a head coach, and I know we hear 9 and 8, that's the Steeler way. Now that's been the Steeler way for the last 5 years when you didn't have the high-end quarterback. Now, and it may stay that way.
Mm-hmm.
We also seem to forget that he's been a head coach in this league for 16 years. He's won double-digit games 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Mike Tomlin's a really good coach. The hatred towards him drives me nanners.
But it's
there is no coach to me that is disrespected in this league as Mike Tomlin is.
And I'll agree with that. I think the Steeler fans that clamor for Mike Tomlin to be fired every year are morons because there are teams out there like, I don't know, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers and
my Jets.
Jeremy's New York Jets, who would kill to have a coach like that. Mike Tomlin is a great coach in this league, don't get me wrong, but all of those 10-win seasons, all of those came with who?
Ben Roethlisberger.
Mm-hmm. He had a great quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And so, do you not see him and Sean Payton in
name me a great coach that's ever. Mike Tomlin kept winning without him. Sean Payton I need a mental break. Next thing we knew, he's got a spray tan and he looks 15 years younger.
Okay. Kept winning without him again. 9 and 8. That's the Steelers.
Competitive for the playoffs with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. Yeah, there's a merit to that. The only difference for me, John Harbaugh's been a coach 15 years in the NFL, 10 double-digit win seasons, but he's done it for the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only thing that bumped Harbaugh up because I think they're the exact same guy. And I will be honest with you, they have been a great facet of this rivalry, having these two guys on very similar career tracks facing each other every year inside that division.
Mm-hmm. Like Mike Tomlin, big fan. Number 5.
5 was John Harbaugh.
Oh, well, we got to talk about John Harbaugh because we ain't even talked about him yet.
Well, we did because he's Mike Tomlin. Everything.
Mike Tomlin.
So take everything I just said about Mike Tomlin and put it in purple. Okay. Defense is really good.
Okay.
You've been really good. The other thing that bumps up Harbaugh is you won with Joe Flacco, who I don't think was ever an elite quarterback. I don't necessarily think Lamar Jackson is an elite quarterback, but you've won with both.
Mm-hmm.
You won a Super Bowl with Flacco. You've been competitive. I would just like to see him get back. It seems like they get beaten either the wild card or the divisional round every year.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see you take a step forward, but the longevity of John Harbaugh, he's another one. People don't. There's a gristle with him too that I don't understand.
It's because you can almost get it done. Yes, you won a Super Bowl. Congratulations, you won a Super Bowl. That's great. But then it's all those early playoff exits. And how many times have we done the recap of the playoff loss and went, there's one specific moment where John Harbaugh could have made a different decision.
And I have a funny feeling with Todd Monken, you're going to see I like the things I'm hearing about that pairing.
Yep.
And maybe I'm going full Charlie Brown with the football, and it's going to get yanked out from underneath me as I try to kick it. I think Greg Roman was a lot of those problems. Because you run an offense like that and you're behind late, there ain't a whole lot you can do. Because there's not a whole lot of chunk plays in that playbook. They grind you out.
Yep. The thing that I love about John Harbaugh is that he is a risk taker. How many times do we talk about him going for 2 at the end of games or making a decision that could have hurt him in the end because he was being too aggressive at the end of the game?
I'm okay with being aggressive.
And I love that
no
about
issue
him.
with that.
Right. I love that about him. And that's why John Harbaugh, in my scenario, he was my 4, and Mike Tomlin was the 7.
I can't have them separated.
Number 4.
Sean McVay. Now, this one is really volatile because McVay, first 5 years in the league, 9 wins, 10 wins, 11 wins, 12 wins, 13 wins. That seems nice.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not in order. That was just, we've been over 500 every year. Yep. Last year was bad. Sean McVay's the only coach in this league that I think can get into the tier of the 3 we have not said yet. I think he's the only active coach in this league that has a shot to get there.
Okay.
He's still really young. Sean McVay and I are the same age, which really makes me feel like, what exactly have I done with my life? Because Sean McVay's lapping me on a daily basis.
We all feel that way, brother.
But if he finds a way to get over the falafel them picks strategery of his team and finds a way to have a second act with the Rams, it's not going to be this year. This team's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But you tell me he winds up with Quinn Ewers or – please, God, nobody say Stetson Bennett. I can't deal with the level of stupid that is coming out about Stetson Bennett is making my brain press against my skull. But if he has that second act, we will look at him as an elite coach because he has been put in a horrific situation.
Yep.
And if any other guy coached that team, I would say the LA Rams will be the worst team in the NFL this year. With Sean McVay, I'm looking at going, how's he going to find a way to make the playoffs with his XFL roster beyond the top 5?
Number 3.
Now, this is where I might get a little pushback. It's Bill Belichick. This is not a career. This is where we're at right now. The Brady years, he's the greatest coach of all time. Okay, this is what New England Patriot fans, for some reason, need to hear me say every time I say the man's name. And he's doing a whole lot with very little.
Mm-hmm.
But there are just 2 that are better. And I'm tired of fighting it because one of them has never had a Brady, and the other one just acquired that in the last handful of years. So if I had to have a coach to win me a game right now, Bill would be my 3. And his reticence to I will say, get with the program of what the NFL is now. Bill still wants to beat you by running the ball down your throat and playing good defense. And he does a tremendous job of it. The problem is he's done it at the expense of playing modern-day NFL football. You watch New England, it does not look like the NFL right now. And there have been boring teams over many, many years. The San Antonio Spurs for 20 years were so boring it literally made my eyes want to bleed. You won a lot. And he won a lot. And he deserves his flowers. I'm just curious, is Bill O'Brien going to be the thing he needed to update how this offense looks? Because now I'm looking around that division going, you can't beat any of the 3 of them. Mm-hmm. Straight up. The way you play, unless you are the wizard czar of the NFL, you're not beating any of those 3 teams. But there's a part of me that also thinks Bill O'Brien is going to come in and, all right, I learned some stuff at Alabama, and we're going to implement it here.
Mm-hmm. I hear no lies. Bill Belichick, he was my 2, so we do have some disagreement here. And Sean McVay was my 3. Notice I haven't told you where I have the next guy listed.
Because I think it's going to really irk me.
It's not going to irk you too bad. Like I said, we're not that far off. But at number 2 on the Flostradamus power ranking of head coaches,
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll at number 2. He is a fantastic coach. There's no doubt about it. The dynasty that he built, and yes, I'm calling it a dynasty, that he built in Seattle, should have had 2 Super Bowl trophies. Now, one of those reasons, it's like, is he the reason that he doesn't have 2 Super Bowls? Sure. If Pete Carroll had been standing there going, "We're running the damn ball," then they would have won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
The second Super Bowl.
Yep.
So
Pete
part
Carroll
of that's his own fault.
Pete Carroll has had 4 completely different acts. 3 of them in the NFL, 1 of them in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we're in the middle of the 4th one, and it might be the best of all of them. I know the Patriot fans are going to gristle at me having Pete Carroll ahead of Bill Belichick right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not historical. It's not any of those things. I'm going to throw a walk-off shot to really perturb some people on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
If Bill Belichick was the coach of the Seattle Seahawks last year, they make the playoffs? Because I'm going to say no, because I've watched him coach that exact same team without Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference to me. Pete has completely adjusted his style to the modern-day NFL. That is the difference between him and Bill. And I'll be honest with you, I think historically they're pretty equal coaches. Bill's got a lot more Super Bowls because he had a lot more Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Which takes me into number 1. And for me, it's number 1 with a bullet, and it ain't close.
No, it's
Andy
Reid.
Reid, and it ain't close.
Yeah.
If Andy Reid had Tom Brady, I'm not sure he wouldn't have had 10 Super Bowls. Because he is an absolute magician of offensive football.
You are not wrong. Andy Reid is a fantastic coach. He's everything wrapped all into one. Now, there are people who trashed him for years being in Philadelphia that he couldn't get the job done.
Oh, yeah, you remember that? Andy Reid can't win the big game. Weird. He got an elite quarterback. He did it. He did it.
Right.
He figured it out. He's not stupid anymore.
He had a near elite quarterback in Philadelphia, but Donovan McNabb isn't Patrick Mahomes. He ain't even close to being a Patrick Mahomes.
No.
Donovan was great, but Patrick's greater.
Bingo.
And he could coach as long as he wants to, and this team's going to be competitive.
Now, the question is, how long does he do that? And I genuinely don't know the answer.
I don't know. And see, that's where I come in with Bill and with Pete Carroll. I mean, Pete Carroll, yes, he doesn't look like he's 72 years old.
Pete
but
Carroll
he
somehow is 72 years old and he looks younger than me.
Exactly. And so I don't know if there's a 4th act coming, as you said, for Pete Carroll.
Well, he's in the middle of it.
Nah. He had one good year where he won 9 games with Geno Smith.
This is the act where I'm proving I can do the same thing I did with Russell Wilson, with Geno Smith, who was an NFL cast-off, bounced around 4 different teams and was horrific.
And if you can repeat last year and you can win more games this year than you won last year, then I'll be on that bandwagon. But I'm not ready to call this a 4th act. It was, if anything, a good swan song for us to remember. Oh, yeah, he was a good coach until the next year it came crashing down and they won 7 games. Because, Geno Smith wasn't that great.
Yeah,
I could see a path to that.
I don't.
I think they're more talented than that. And we did our prognostications. You know I have that team higher than this, but I would not be surprised if they fell back to a 7-10 team after the one spot that Geno Smith, the bright spot that Geno Smith had in his career. It's Andy Reid, and it's not close. Best coach in the NFL, and will continue to vie for AFC championships and Super Bowls until he says, I'm done. This is the Sportsocracy, and we are done for the week.
That's a week, folks. Go to our social medias to get involved. We can't tell you again. It's only social media now. Into Beer City's Ultimate Fantasy Football Draft Contest, how we will stock the fantasy league for this here show, and one lucky listener will get their league the Beer City red carpet treatment for their fantasy football draft. Tied into Battle for the Belt, all the things, and we'll be back on Thursday.
You are in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Watching low pressure spin up in the Atlantic and headed for the Carolina forecast for the weekend, making for a soggy Memorial Day weekend for us. Breezy weather also. 48 degrees our low tonight, increasing clouds. Rain chances kicking in for Saturday coming up from the southeast. High 60 degrees, over an inch of rain tomorrow, half-inch rains on Sunday. high 63, and then showers Monday, high 71. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Finding a great hire can be a challenge. That's why there's Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 toward your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving time ago, 240 westbound between exit 8 and exit 3. 26 westbound slowing between Fanning Bridge Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound crawling between Sweeten Creek Road and Bavard Road. 40 westbound light delays between the Smoky Park Highway and George's Branch Road. And 40 westbound near Newfound Road, traffic is slow. Sweeten Creek Road northbound stop and go between I-40 and Merriman Avenue. Sweeten Creek Road southbound stop and go between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Now during Staples Small Business Deal Days, when rewards members spend $100 or more, they get $20 back in rewards, plus another $10 back with a Staples Connect app. Rewards offer ends May 27th. Limit 1, redeemable in-store only. Save big for your business at Staples.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Sometimes it don't always work for me, but it practice makes it perfect.
From the Ingalls Studios, this is